Hello there everybody, Oimon here, and welcome to the Nintendo Direct June 2024 live reaction. As you can see by what it says there, I was supposed to have Zero on as a guest. Unfortunately, his microphone decided it didn't want to work, so that may not happen. It's why I was a few minutes late starting, because we went to start chatting with each other on like Discord, and then it was like, hang on, my mic's not working, be right back, and he hasn't come back yet. So that's fine, that's to the side. We will deal with that as we can. If he gets it working, fine, we'll do a dual one. If not, I can do it solo. It's not a big problem, it's not a big issue at all. So yes, we have a Direct, because, well, of course we have a Direct, and I will be honest, I haven't the faintest fucking idea what we are going to get today. Like, I have no expectations. A couple of things I'd maybe like to see, but I mean, we know we're not going to be hearing about the new console, so fine. This is all just going to be games and software and stuff. Fine. It's perfectly okay. I mean, as I said, I don't have any particular like wants or anything like that. I do have which one? I think it's you, isn't it? Is it you? Yeah, it's you. I have some predictions. Hopefully, you can read those okay. Slightly smaller than normal, but I had a lot of stuff I wanted to write down. So, as you can see, I've got things that are likely, things that might happen, things I think are unlikely, and things that are definitely not going to happen in a month of Sundays. So yeah, for the likely stuff, I do think we'll hear something about the Luigi's Mansion 2 remaster, because I don't think that's out yet. I mean, if it's out, correct me, because I didn't think it was out yet. So we'll probably have another vid/deep dive about that. And we'll probably get some farming life sims. That one's kind of in there as a joke, because we have a lot of farming and life sims at the moment. That just seems to be the big trend, which is it. I mean, a lot of like industry experts have said that's like the next big thing, you know. So we'll see. Oh, hang on, Zero might be popping in. Okay. Anything?
Oh. Hey, how's this?
Oh, well, hello. There it is. Oh, you're just kind of fading in and out.
Am I? Okay. I guess I'll just have to talk closer to the mic.
So you said it wasn't recognizing your normal microphone?
Yeah, it's not detecting my blue snowball anymore, which is kind of sucky.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you couldn't have gotten it working, it wouldn't have been a problem. I could have just done this solo, but it's fine.
Yeah, I know, but you know, I like participating in these. I like talking about industry stuff when I can.
Yeah. So anyway, as I was saying, I just before you joined in there, I was just talking about my sort of predictions. I don't know if you've got my stream available, but I have some predictions up on the thing. Can I boost Zero in Discord? One moment. Yeah, so I've got the general stream audio low, because obviously I don't want the thing to go over too much.
Yeah, you don't want it to be picking up the microphone through the echo, yeah.
Okay, how about that? Try talking now.
So yeah, I'm just reading through what you have on your list here. Metroid Prime 2 remaster, that would be interesting, because like, yeah, that's something on the list.
I mean, yeah, like we got the first one, and the remaster for the first one was really good. Like I liked that. It's like it really is a much better way to play the game. So obviously I've got my hopes for a Prime 2 and a Prime 3 remaster, but you'll notice I put Prime 3 remaster in unlikely rather than maybe, because obviously Prime 3 had all the motion controls, and there's a lot of games that are kind of stuck on the Wii because of their motion control integration.
Well, I mean, they did have they did have Super Mario 3D All Stars, which did find a way around it.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's also weird because like the Joy-Con is kind of all about the motion controls as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Skyward Sword did, but they brought that to Switch. Skyward Sword did, but I will say the system they did in that, I don't... The thing is, I can't work out how they could do the system without being all like, okay, you've just got to use the Joy-Cons pointer thing. Kind of like what they did when they ported Mario Galaxy over. Because you can use the Joy-Con's little IR pointer. But it's not as accurate as the Wiimote was. You know, it's because it's kind of not as strong in terms of the technology. So, I mean, they could just do it.
3D All Stars. I didn't play 3D All Stars, so I'm not sure exactly how they did it. I thought they used the accelerometer just like in like Breath of the Wild, how you can do it for the micro adjustments and the aiming.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, I mean, I'd like it to happen. Whether it will happen or not, I don't know. I mean, I've said for a while that I was hoping they do Prime 1 remaster, Prime 2 remaster, and Prime 3 remaster in the lead up to the release of 4. I don't know. We'll see what happens on that front. So it's something I'd like to have, but whether we get it or not, I don't know. That's kind of why it's in the maybe.
When was the Prime remaster? When did that come out?
It was last year, wasn't it? I think it was. I think it was about June or July last year, wasn't it? Because they shadow dropped it, if you remember.
Yeah.
Or at least digitally, and then the physical release was a few weeks later. You broke up there.
It's 2023.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you broke up there for a bit. So yeah, Samus Returns remaster obviously with the Luigi's Mansion 2 port. I figured, why not a Samus Returns port? I'd like that. I think that would be good.
Yeah, the Samus Returns port would be really good because playing it on the 3DS kind of sucks.
Yeah. So that's sort of something I'd like to see, but I'm not desperately expecting it. I'd like to see it, but I don't know. And we might hear more about the new Professor Layton game. Again, I don't know. They've announced it, but that could still be years away, or it could be coming, for Christmas. I don't know. We've only had a teaser that it exists, so its exact state of development is anyone's guess. Obviously unlikely.
Skyward Sword uses the gyro for aiming, not the IR port. I don't think anything uses the IR port. The Nintendo Labo stuff uses the IR port.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, I don't really know the specifics of all this stuff. I just sort of guess. So yeah, in unlikely, I've got Prime 4. I don't think we're going to be hearing about that. I'm still convinced it's going to be a release game for Switch 2 or whatever comes next. We might get it as like okay, we're releasing it on the Switch first, but it's also getting a Switch 2 port. I'd be torn about which version I'd want to get if I did do that. So I'm hoping we get a simultaneous release, because we kind of did that with Twilight Princess. That got a simultaneous release on the GameCube and the Wii, didn't it? So, yeah. I got F-Zero on there because it seems unlikely. They haven't done anything big with F-Zero, but we did get...
Yeah, the F-Zero, all we got recently was like the F-Zero
99.
X, and we got F-Zero 99.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, they're still supporting 99. That's the thing. Like, that is still available. It didn't, like, die, like, after a few months, like a lot of these things do. They're still supporting it. And last time I checked, they were still sort of updating it. So, they are thinking about F-Zero. But, I mean, I don't know. We haven't had a brand new F-Zero game for a while. Unless they do a remaster of the GameCube one. Possibly. Maybe? I don't know. I'm sort of 50-50 on that. The Star Wars Rogue Squadron remaster. It's more of something a friend of mine suggested, because me and a friend were chatting about this last night. He's a big fan of Rogue Squadron trilogy. I mean, I quite like them. I think they're fun. The second one's the best. And getting like a remaster of the trilogy of those is something he would really like. But I'm like, well, I mean, it could happen because they have been... like porting and remastering a lot of older Star Wars games recently. They
recently put they recently put 2 of the Rebel Assault games, I believe both of them, onto PlayStation Network.
Mm.
And the Rebel Assault games are actually pretty cool.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, we've got all these Star Wars games, and like, I think Rogue Squadron is one of the few that hasn't had that done to it. And like, Star Wars is Disney now, and they just want the money. So getting a remaster of those might happen. I mean, you don't know with this stuff. Metro Prime remaster we've already talked about. Zelda Oracle of Ages / Seasons remaster. I've had this on my unlikely list for multiple.
Well, they've been teasing that for a while. It seems very possible.
Really? They've actually been teasing it? I haven't heard anything about that.
I don't know if they've been teasing it, but I mean, like, it's one of those things that it seems like very possible for them to do, because they have the engine from Link's Awakening. They already have the branding of Toy Link.
Yes, I mean, this is the thing. It's like that's what I've always said. Yeah, it's what I've always said. They've got the engine from Link's Awakening remake. They could easily do it. I mean, the only sort of wrinkle is, like, they were made by Capcom, not Nintendo. They weren't in-house Nintendo games. They were made by Capcom. There might be some legal mumbo jumbo there that stops it from happening, but I don't think so. I think Nintendo and Capcom are like they're okay with each other these days. I don't think they're at odds. So I don't know.
What if, similar to how Samus Returns started off as a remake and then we got a new game, what if we got a new game in the Link's Awakening style?
I mean, it could happen. I mean, technically speaking, yeah, because we had Link's Awakening, and then years later, they made Ages and Seasons from that engine. And it kind of in the way that we had Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, where they just took the same world and moved it forward. We could get a totally original one, but I really feel like with Zelda, they want to focus on the new stuff rather than retro stuff, unless it's a remake. They want to do Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. That's what they want of Zelda now. Remasters and remakes are fine because they're just older games getting punted up to new stuff, but for brand new things.
I liked Breath of the Wild. I liked Tears of the Kingdom, but it does kind of hint at the fact that is going to be their new praxis moving forward, is the massive open world sort of Assassin's Creed Horizon style of Legend of Zelda game, instead of the sort of more level-based, mission-based, dungeon-based format from before. Which, I mean, I am glad for the open world Zelda, but I like the comfort of sort of the dungeon-based design as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I wish they'd keep both going. It's like you can play with your big open worlds, but can we occasionally just sit in the classroom and use our crayons to draw something between the lines, please? Like, that's fine. Sometimes that's what I want of a game,
Which, I mean, I felt Breath of the Wild was something that the series really did need, because it had gotten stale. But then, of course, you look at the original Legend of Zelda, how it holds up even today, because they do not make games like that same design, that same sort of open world. I mean, they do, but it's like everything that the original Legend of Zelda did, so many other games have been trying to copy. So like, kind of Zelda spawned this whole thing of like open world, go anywhere, do anything in any particular order, because like Zelda, there's like 3-4 different dungeons you can go to your first one. So but then they got much more linear, despite being ostensibly open world. You still have to go to one dungeon, then the next, and the next.
They kind of fell into the formula, and in a way, like Zelda and Metroid kind of both fell victim to that, I think, in a way. Although Metroid less so, because it had less games in its franchise. But there was definitely an element of that to it. And, I mean, speaking of more Zelda, I've also got Wind Waker and Twilight Princess remasters getting Switch ports. Everybody wants it, which means it's highly unlikely to happen, because Nintendo doesn't give fans what they want. It gives fans what they least expect. So
I'm for being Elden Ring style.
I would not say
Souls-like. I would not hate that. I would not hate a Metroid Souls, especially if you could integrate kind of gun-based combat into a Souls-like game.
I mean, there have been Souls-like games with guns in them. If you've ever played,
Bloodborne.
Well, not so much Bloodborne, because Bloodborne is still melee. I mean specifically Remnant from the Ashes. That is very specifically a third-person shooter that is also a Souls-like. So they could do it, but I mean, here's the thing: if Metroid Prime 4 ends up being like open world, like kind of like Elden Ring, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want the super hard difficulty and the death respawning mechanic, although that could be fun. I mean, I wouldn't say no to that. Like, you know,
I was actually discussing that with someone on Reddit who said that it was a kind of a shit take, but they said that they should get rid of the checkpoints and just have the save points. And I'm like,
here's the thing:
they should bring back having to restart from save stations rather than checkpoints when you die. He says.
I think I'm not against that idea, but it should be an option rather than something that's forced upon you. You know?
He says, I felt like backtracking to a boss or having the option to go elsewhere was an integral part of the franchise. It was also something I felt Dread lacked that it never realized I would miss in a Metroid game. The save station, in my opinion, was like the original bonfire concept in the Souls games. The dynamic of the game would just feel different without them. And I said, as a fan of both Metroid and Souls-likes, no. Not every game needs to be a Souls-like.
No,
doing a
it doesn't.
runback is fine if doing a runback is fine if it's integrated into how the game is designed. Learning enemy patterns and getting back to your body is integral to potentially acquiring more XP or resources and adds a risk-reward balance. Getting more levels can make your character stronger and result in a slightly easier game in addition to your increased skills and knowledge as a player. Adding the threat of lost resources is stressful, but that's part of the territory of a Souls-like and provides an increase in tension. But Metroid is not designed the same way. Enemies are not intended to provide the same resistance or incentive to either defeat or avoid. So being forced to replay the same area over and over will provide nothing to the player other than wasting their time. So when they just want to get back to the boss and try again, especially when nothing is lost upon death. Samus doesn't need to get back to her body to reacquire her power-up, so it wouldn't fulfill the same purpose.
Yeah, it's and the other thing to point out is, of course, that in a very good, well-made Metroidvania-style game, the save point is usually just around the corner from all the bosses. Like, that's exactly a part of it. Like, it's as good as having a checkpoint. Like, the save points were strategically placed in, like, say, Metroid 3 to be as close to bosses, or at least in, like, a strategic point in a given area, to facilitate the fact that, okay, if you die at a certain point that we've designated, okay, this is a boss, it's going to be harder, there's a higher chance you'll die, we'll put a save point close by. Now, you may miss the save point and get punted back a long way, but that's how it goes in an exploration-based game. You may miss a save point. I've done that before, you know, playing a Metroidvania game.
In fact, that was one of the things that wasn't that one of the things that they added in Metroid Prime Remastered? They added a save point in the Meteor crater, right?
I think that was there in the UK version as well. It may not have been in the American version, which I think that might be the case. But in the UK version that I grew up with, there was always a save point in the Meteor in Prime 1.
Interesting.
Yeah, again, there were some changes between the different versions that everybody got, because obviously they're still, because this was back in the day and age before like patches, so companies would still work on a game even when one particular version would be shipped, you know, so ports was always going to be a thing there. So yeah, I mean, I would not say no to a more open-ended Metroid game. I don't know if I would want it to go full Dark Souls, but to have one that's more open world rather than linear corridors.
Because we already kind of got a Dark Souls-y Nintendo open world game. We got Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Because the comment of that is not necessarily Dark Souls-y, but it does have that sort of feel to it where you do kind of need to use your weapons strategically and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about anything else that's got planned. We've got about, what are we on, 7 minutes or so left for the direct. I'm going to pop to the bathroom real quick, just so I don't need to go halfway through, because it's a 40-minute long thing, so I think I'm going to go nip to the bathroom very quickly. So I will be right back. Do you want me to mute you, or are you alright to talk while I'm away?
I'll be fine.
Okay.
I'll just look through Twitter and see what people are saying on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll try not to run into spoilers. Alright, back in a minute, guys.
Of course. Did you hear they found the source of the Nintendo leaks? No, I did not. Google employee had found Nintendo's secured drive and was pulling the information from there. Well, just when you thought you could trust Google again.
Wait, you could trust Google?
Yes, that's the joke.
Yes, I know. I had to think of something to say when I got back. Okay, I tell you what. One thing I did here. I don't know if you've seen anything online about this, but in one of the little Discord groups I'm in, someone posted that the ESRB, which is the European group that
Entertainment Software Ratings Board.
Yeah, that one. They have rated the original Resident Evil 1 for a PC release, which surprised the hell out of me, I'll be honest with you. Because like the original 1998, PlayStation game, back in the day, it did have a PC port. There is an actual PC port of Resident Evil 1. And it was actually like a lot, it's one of the unedited ones, because the PS1 version had some edits done to it in order to, A, fit it on the disc, and B, in order to actually get it released in the first place. But the PC port was unedited and had a lot of...
So it was censored slightly?
Yeah, the PC... The uncensored, I should say. Yeah. So the PC version... the bit where you meet the first zombie, and he's, munching on the guy, and then he turns around, and then the cutscene ends, and it starts chasing you.
There was no body there?
Oh, no, the body was there, but there's a scene where the guy's head, with half of its face missing, falls to the ground. And I think it was in the DS version as well. I think the DS one managed to get away with that, because of course it looks so janky and awful now. It's not really something that needs to be censored, So yeah, that has apparently been rated for a PC release, which, as I said, quite a surprise. But it seems like we might be getting a modern port of that on digital systems. Which I would not say no to. It does make me wonder if it's going to get released as a free thing, because we've been having those classic marathon games have been released free recently. So I do wonder, because I don't know how much money they'd be able to make out of that.
Yeah, how would they, are they really expecting you to buy Resident Evil 98 again? Because how many times have they re-released or remade or reissued Resident Evil?
It depends on if you want to include the remake as part of that.
Now there's talk of a remake of the remake.
I think that was just a rumor. I think Capcom themselves have said, yeah, we're not actually remaking Resident Evil 1. That might be on the cards at some far future distant point, but right now we're focusing on more other stuff. I think currently they're working on Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Apocalypse, as apparently called, and a Resident Evil Code Veronica remake. I think that's their two focuses right now. If they...
Code Veronica rushed or something?
I don't know.
It wasn't as good as it could have been.
I don't know if it was rushed. The problem was they very much stuck to their guns about the formula, and it was really around the time they should have been shaking it up to try something else. Funnily enough, it was then followed by Resident Evil 4, which not only shook up the Resident Evil formula,
which did, yeah.
It didn't just shake up Resident Evil; it shook up pretty much the entire of gaming at the time. It spawned an entire new genre, for crying out loud. It changed third-person shooters completely. So Code Veronica it's a bit maligned, which I think is a shame, because there is a lot to love in Code Veronica, and Code Veronica was supposed to be Resident Evil 3. But they had to rename what was going to be Resident Evil Nemesis to Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. There's some conflicting reasons as to why. There's some people say that Sony forced them to wanted 3 numbered Resident Evil games on the console, so it kind of forced their hand, which okay, but then why couldn't you have just called Code Veronica Resident Evil 4? Would that really have been a problem? But I don't know the exact reason of why.
That same sort of thing happens with Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
They're working on like 4 different games at one time. Like, well, which one of these is going to be called Final Fantasy 17?
Because didn't that happen with 15 as well? Like, there was going to be...
Pretty much, yeah. 15 was supposed to be a spin-off of 13, but they're like, we're so far past it, let's just make this one 15. You can't... Oh, are we starting?
Yep. Hang on. Ah. Sorry, that kind of caught me on the hop. It just happened. Oh. What is this style?
It's like a cel-shaded, almost like an animated
Mario and
cartoon,
Luigi? Is it a Mario and Luigi? I've never played a Mario and Luigi game.
Yeah, looks like it. Wow,
it is. It's Mario and Luigi. Is this a new one?
So it's a remake of... I think it might be a remake of the first Mario and Luigi game.
I've never played them. Okay, there's a lot of people who are very happy right now.
Yeah, they're very similar to like the Mario RPG, Paper Mario style games.
Yeah.
In many cases, you could consider them sort of a
alternate
Dragon Quest to sort of Dragon Quest to Paper Mario's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
How is one of them kind of strayed away from the standard? These guys kind of continued it. They're supposed to have like really good writing and stuff, though.
Because isn't it kind of like an alternate thing to the Paper Mario franchise, in a way?
Essentially, yeah. They're kind of like both offspring of the Mario RPG.
Yeah.
Paper Mario was originally designed. I think it was originally intended as Super Mario RPG 2.
You don't think this is a remake? You don't recognize anything here, Jagoth? Oh, okay. So it's a new game.
Yeah, all the other Mario and Luigi games were sort of sprite-based GBA or DS titles. So this would be the first 3D console-based one.
Brothership. Okay.
Brothership. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's a word.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shinya Takahashi, and I'll be your guide for today's Nintendo Direct.
Oh, good.
That was the first new entry in the Mario and Luigi series in almost 9 years. Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Mario and Luigi Brothership.
A seafaring adventure that unfolds across
I don't think Mario and Luigi need to be shipped any more than they already are.
Moves with Mario and Luigi. Okay, let's see the first batch of headlines.
Oh, good. Headlines. What we got?
Bring the championships home or on the go.
Oh, yeah, we saw this last time, didn't we?
Yeah, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition.
I literally don't care.
It says at the bottom of the screen at some point, like, does not contain the full games.
No, it's basically kind of like a WarioWare.
It's like NES remix.
Okay. I was gonna say it's like WarioWare, where it's tiny little things that you can play.
Yeah, and you try to do them as quickly as possible.
Like completing Super Mario Brothers in one go using warp pipes.
I believe some games are the full title, so like something like Super Mario Brothers, you try to complete the game in under 8 minutes, which is 8 minutes is actually pretty damn respectable as a speedrun time. The world record is just shy of 5 minutes.
You've only got one shot to survive.
It's like 4:53 or something.
Well, it did specifically say it's got like a rewind function, so, you know, technically that's kind of cheating.
Well, it'll keep its own separate leaderboard. Deluxe set. NES game plaque replica not playable.
Fairy Tale is about to begin.
Okay.
Oh, happy.
Climactic Alvarez Empire arc from the hit anime Fairy Tale in this action RPG.
Fairy Tale 2.
Fairy Tale 2.
I don't know what this is.
Team Natsu prepares to
It's a sequel to Fairy Tale, obviously.
Yeah, that helps. I genuinely don't know. Never heard of this. I'm sure someone somewhere is very happy about this, but what? It's just another action JRPG.
Action RPG.
That I do not give a shit about.
It looks fine enough.
Whoa, back off your mic.
It looks fine enough, but I know nothing about the Fairy Tale series. So.
Yeah, there you go. That's better. you got a little too close to the mic there. Careful.
Embark on a multi-dimensional journey
awaits.
From Final Fantasy series creator Hironobu Sakaguchi.
Okay.
And composer Nobuo
Hironobu
Uematsu.
Sakaguchi, that's always a good sign. Nobuo Uematsu.
Fantasian.
No, Fantasian. This was a game that was only released on Apple TV.
What?
And it's been exclusive to Apple TV for like 6-7 years.
Okay.
And it's finally coming out to consoles. There was talk of this.
I'd never even heard of it.
There was rumors of this.
Oh, that's
exactly.
That's a neat system. I mean, okay, it's probably nothing I'd play. I mean, maybe, but
It has this other system that I learned about where, like, rather than encountering enemies, you can choose to send them to another dimension.
It's literally talking about that now.
And then fight them all at once, yeah.
No one could understand why it was exclusive to Apple TV. Probably a lot of money changed hands. That's usually how exclusives happen.
I think Apple, like, produced it. Apple, like, helped produce it or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mistwalker and Square Enix. Because it was originally just developed by Square Enix. Or originally just developed by Mistwalker. It was not connected to Square Enix at all. Even though it's Sakaguchi.
Well, Switch Sports is getting a new edition, I guess. Yay. I never bothered with this.
Basketball, that's one of those things that was part of the... Because I remember taking my Wii to like a family get-together, and I was playing with some kid, who's maybe 5-6 years younger than me, so I'm like, okay, so what sport do you want to play? He's like, basketball. Like, that's not on the Wii, dumbass.
I remember when my sister refused to start playing me at bowling on the Wii because I developed this like slight twist when I threw the ball on the thing. Guaranteed strike every time. I'd never played bowling in real life.
You were just too good.
I just got too good at playing it on the thing. Oh, what we got going on here? What is this? Oh, a strange little creature wakes up in a strange little land. Haven't seen that before.
It's got like a plug on his head.
God, this reminds me of, oh, what was the name of that game? Hob. I love the art style. Is this actually a...
It looks very indie game.
This is clearly an indie game. Or if it's not an actual indie game, it's a game trying to be indie.
Yeah, the art style is very,
this feels...
kind of a side-scrolling Okami.
I was going to say, yeah, the art style is Okami. The gameplay looks Ori and the Blind Forest.
Or maybe a little Inside.
Maybe. Mio.
Or Limbo.
Memories in Orbit.
Yeah, that very much feels like an indie title. An array of cartoon classics.
Monarch's greatest detective is solving a mystery, and
Disney Illusion. I think I heard about this one.
It looked interesting, but it came out and it turns out it was a bit of a cheapy mobile phone kind of game.
Oh, it looks like it. The animation, everything very much looks like that.
Oh, hey Kane, did you miss out on all the Metroid Prime 4 jokes? Yeah, kinda. We made a lot of jokes earlier. Oh, it's Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty,
Adventure
konnichiwa.
Island. Oh.
Hello Kitty Adventure. I thought that was a made-up game from South Park.
In this open world adventure. Team up with your new pals to solve mysteries and restore Friendship Island when Hello Kitty Island Adventure launches as a timed
I was going to say it was like Animal Crossing, but I think it's a bit more involved than Animal Crossing. It looks kind of Animal Crossing-ish, doesn't it?
Let's get loony in this
It's not
wacky
difficult to be
sports
more
game.
involved in Animal Crossing.
Play as Bugs Bunny.
Okay, well,
Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports.
it's a Looney Tunes sports game, I guess. Sure, okay.
Hey, I want a Looney Tunes fighting game.
Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports crashes onto Nintendo Switch this fall.
What's up, Doc?
That's all.
There was one for the original Xbox. It was kind of an arena fighter like Power Stone.
I
It
don't
was
know.
not very good.
New crewmate and imposter
Oh,
roles
goody,
are being
am I?
added to Among Us.
Would it be good or will it be cheap? It'll probably be cheap. I mean, it's Warner
Oh,
Brothers.
it's Phantom. Oh, that's actually kind of cool because they added new abilities and things and roles. Because that was one thing I always felt about Among Us, how you kind of need it needed to be deeper. I felt like that you should have been, because I never really got into Among Us because it all just seems so simple. I'm not very good at bluffing, honestly.
Those who command and raise them are called Farmagians.
But I always felt that it needed stuff like you need to do things that seem suspicious just as part of your job. Like you need to shut off the power in order to restore like the power line, the power cables or something.
And lead them into the fight against the Magus' army.
Oh. Oh, look, farming elements, I called it.
To make your buddies come
Because there's always farming. Oh my god, you grow your pets?
they can then be
You
It's
grow
farming-
animals.
It's farming, but you're growing animals, not plants.
friends to your monster.
Okay, I'll give him points.
like,
That's original.
In action,
It's like Viva Pinata.
I never played that. I thought it was okay.
all of
It's
the battle buddies in your
cute.
party to call forth the
That's a game I'm surprised we haven't had a remaster of yet.
on your foes.
Viva Pinata.
Yeah. So this is kind of... It's almost like, I want to say Pikmin, or...
It's Pikmin. Yeah, it's Pikmin. It's
I-
Pikmin with like
I was going to say,
animals.
it's a bit more like Overlord, actually.
Well, Overlord
Oh,
was kind of
Kong.
like Pikmin anyway. Ooh,
Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong Country
Donkey Kong
Returns,
Country 4.
originally released on the Wii system,
Something.
is barreling onto Nintendo Switch in HD. The villainous Tiki Tak
I never played any of the
Donkey
Donkey
Kong
Kong
Country
Country
HD.
Returns games.
and stolen Donkey Kong's
They're
precious
decent
banana
platformers, I hear.
Hmm.
If you can't get enough of a fix from like the Super Mario Wonder kind of games. If you like the ukulele one, it's probably very
Impossible
similar to that.
Lair. I liked it up to a
Yeah.
point, and that point was where the difficulty got really fucking stupid.
Well, it is the impossible layer, but yeah.
Yeah, even by those standards.
to high-flying rocket barrels.
Because they made two of these, because there was Donkey Kong Country Returns and there was Tropical Freeze?
There are
Memory
plenty of
serves?
transportation methods available.
Yes.
Which, again, I never played that one either, so...
Buddy for two-player local co-op.
Another similar game was the Rayman games.
Store.
I never played any of them.
Additional levels from the Nintendo 3DS version.
But again, I think this is like a nice to have. You know, we're getting a lot of remasters and
HD
stuff.
swings onto the Nintendo Switch system.
It's very reliant on how much you like side-scrolling platformers, really.
One of Donkey Kong.
Returns is by Retro. Yeah, I know that, because people got pissed they were working on Donkey Kong rather than Metroid. I remember that.
Hey,
are in store with these
did you know
cards.
companies can work on more than one game at a time?
I know! Alright, what we got next?
Snap.
Time is 9?
This looks just like that Mio game again.
I don't know what it is, but it's very quiet.
Bird. Is that
Oh,
shows
Dragon
up?
Quest 3?
Oh, yeah, okay, Dragon Quest Trilogy, I think. There's 1, 2, and 3.
I thought it was I thought they were doing a remake of 3. I forgot about this. Yeah, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
With allies to face the archfiend. On an epic
Yeah, if you're into like classic turn-based RPG, these are absolute crack for those kind of games.
I may give this one a look because I played, I think 11.
challenges.
Yeah, the last big one that came out, which is technically a prequel to 3, actually. If you want to get really technical about it. So I may play this just for curiosity's sake. But it looks gorgeous. I mean, this looks amazing. So
yeah, I really do like that art style for an RPG. I feel like that style has aged way better than many, because like a lot of the PlayStation games are made that same way with like 2D sprites on 3D backgrounds, and I feel like that style is just has a very clean look to it.
I would kill for a remake of Grandeur in this style. Like, I don't even mean that in hyperbole.
I would love to see a remake of Breath of Fire 3 and 4, because I don't have a copy of 4. A copy of 4 is like $180. Because fuck the retro gaming trade right now.
What's going on?
The burb cometh.
What? Appearance of the complete Erdrick trilogy.
Erdrick, I see. Yeah, I said
1 and 2
Dragon
HD
Quest trilogy. 1 and 2 HD remake. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
2025.
任天堂ダイレクトをご覧の皆様、こんにちは、堀井雄二です。ドラゴンクエスト3の映像いかがでしたか？
Dragon Quest series creator.
So they're releasing 3 first, and then doing 1 and 2 together. That's fair.
So this would be like the 5th time they've remade Dragon Quest 1 and 2?
I'll have to take your word for that. Yeah, because
they had the original, of course. Then they had a port on the Super Nintendo. There was a port for the Game Boy Color, and technically speaking, Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2 were based in the same story.
I will say, because one of the few things I do know about Dragon Quest, isn't 3 a prequel to 1? So the actual like chronological order goes 11, 3, 1, 2. Oh, what the fuck is this?
Funko Pop.
Kill it! Oh my god, that looks awful. That looks
like a mobile game.
That looks so bad. That looks actually. Oh, for fuck's sake!
The resolution. The resolution is so small.
Please tell me this is not finished.
It really does look like a mobile.
Oh god, they got Shaun of the fucking Dead in there. What is this?
Funko Fusion. What the hell?
Dinosaurs from Jurassic World and Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. They're certainly not toying around.
Jesus Christ.
It's like the
Lego
Marvel
does it better.
Chucky.
Lego does it better.
It's like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance of Funko games.
Wow.
Yeah, that looks like shit.
That looks awful.
Spooky, silly, and strategic.
Oh, there it is. Called it.
Luigi's Mansion? Yeah.
My only question about this is, are they going to change the really fucking annoying level structure this game has? They're probably not, but
you kind of had to keep, because it was a mobile game, so you had to only play for like 20 minutes at a time, basically.
Yeah, I hated that. What the fuck?
Explore dungeons and battle monsters.
New Denpa Man looks like
It's like a Miiverse kind of thing.
Oh my god. It looks like a full RPG version of Find Me or Rescue Me. Have you ever played that in the I want to say it's not Miiverse, but it's like the thing for the 3DS.
I probably almost never played that.
Ooh, Metal Slug.
It's a fucking tower defense game.
Oh, it's a mobile. Yeah, it's a Metal Slug gotcha game.
Miitomo, Jagoth's saying? Is that what it was called?
No, it's not Miitomo. It was... Because they had that as well. That was sort of like a RPG where you would...
I never bothered with any of that
basically
social
everything is
stuff.
Yeah. Oh, you don't socialize, so...
Exactly.
I went to a convention a couple weeks ago, and I got like 10 street passes in like 20 minutes. And you can max out at 10 street passes until you have to clear them out and try and replay them.
Darkest Dungeon 2, I guess. Like, I never played the first one, so...
Oh, yeah.
You know, I have no feelings about this one way or the other. I heard it's fine, albeit very difficult, but... Okay.
Darkest Dungeon, it's kind of like a roguelike Oregon Trail sort of thing.
Oh, Link to the Past.
Are they going to stealth drop anything? I guess stealth drop it now. Links to past the Four Swords.
Oh, Zero Mission. Nice.
I knew it.
You gotta love Zero Mission.
Plus, coming to the new Nintendo
it really is the better version of the first game.
Yeah, absolutely. 17 plus.
Turok!
Adding Turok or something? They are adding Turok, okay. That was a joke.
And? What? I'm not even gonna say it.
Perfect Dark.
Oh my god.
Perfect Dark.
They did it. They brought Perfect Dark back.
All 4 games will be available for Nintendo Switch.
I mean, I'm not gonna play it because I don't get online.
Later today.
Sorry?
Available later today. Wow.
Yeah.
Set sail to save the day.
I mean, I'm not gonna get it because I don't do online stuff, but
A young woman with the ability to communicate with phantoms.
Nice. I wonder if I could still use the settings from GoldenEye, because I had to set up my controller weird for GoldenEye.
What on
In this
earth?
new installment in the Phantom Brave series.
Phantom Brave. That rings a bell.
Phantom Brave.
That does ring a bell. I feel like I've heard it at some point, but I don't remember where or why or anything like that.
With objects in various ways.
Fine.
Hmm.
It looks
Combine
cute
phantoms
enough.
with certain objects to maneuver them. Combined with a cannon to attack a large area. A
Tactics
fan to
kinda-
blow enemies
It
around.
looks a bit like that. What's it called? Like Disgaea? Or whatever that is. It looks a little like that.
Stopping abilities that can turn the tide of battle.
I've never played it. I've heard good things about the game series.
Phantom
But,
Brave, the Lost Hero, launches on Nintendo Switch next year. This one's gonna take you for a ride.
Capcom.
7 arcade
wanna
games
take you for a
featuring
ride.
Marvel and Capcom
Marvel vs.
characters
Capcom.
fighting their way onto Nintendo Switch
Marvel's
as
Superheroes
Arcade
vs. Street
Collection.
Fighter, okay.
Flash in
Fair
X-Men
enough, I guess.
Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, yeah. It started X-Men vs. Street Fighter, then expanded to Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, then became Marvel vs. Capcom.
Looks like you're getting a whole
Where
bunch
they
of
started
stuff.
integrating just everybody. The
X-Men.
Punisher.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, that's...
I mean, if
Shows
you're a
me
fan
the
of those
Atom.
games, I mean, this is probably really good.
Oh yeah,
so-
there's... Oh no, I know there's people that are going to be buying it just for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Because that was like the killer fucking app.
You can also cross over to the
I
museum to
liked Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and I've never even played it. I just liked watching it because of how crazy it is.
Marvel vs.
Yeah, it's one of the early sort of games people used to play for like big settings and stuff like that, wasn't it? It was like kind of one of the things that's birthed esports. Oh, what is this?
You can find it in like pretty much every arcade.
Oh no. Oh no.
Bigger, bolder Mario Party. Mario Party, Super Mario Party 2.
Biggest selection of Mario Party mini games yet in Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Close enough.
First,
Super Mario Party Jamboree.
you'll compete to collect the most stars.
My palms have still not recovered from Mario Party 1 where you had to spin the fucking stick around. I still haven't forgiven Nintendo
Send
for
out for
that.
your...
Okay? I have not
You can
forgiven
send
Nintendo.
out for your gloves.
Ride around and stay on track.
Is that a ninja?
Raceway.
Yeah.
With the new
It may have been a
turbo
costume, I'm not
you
sure.
can move up to 40 spaces with a lucky roll. Here on Goomba Lagoon, the ebb and flow of the tide can change your path.
Oompa Lagoon. Is this a new game or DLC or what?
I think it's a new game.
Along with 5 new game boards, 2 boards from previous Mario Party games make their return.
It has 5 levels.
Some mini games are action-packed challenges.
6 levels, 7 levels.
A battle of wits.
So it's almost twice as many as the first game.
Gently shaking or tilting your Joy-Con controllers. With over 110 mini games.
They brought those kind of mini games back in Super Mario Party. I told you, I still haven't forgiven them for that.
Up to 20 players can go head-to-head online in the Coupathlon mode. Compete against your rivals and aim for first place. Try your best to come out on top. Wait, there are even more new modes? The biggest Mario Party yet will soon be underway when the Super Mario Party Jamboree game launches.
I mean, if you like Mario Party, sure. It's not for me, but sure.
If you have people to play with it, it's a very fun game. It's basically a digital board game.
Yeah.
It's really fun, honestly.
New boards, mini games, 20-player online gameplay, and more. Get ready for the biggest Mario Party in series history. And now, please take a look at this.
Uh-oh. Oh! Oh! It is! Please tell me this is it. Oh no, wait. What is this?
It's a new Zelda game?
For a split second, I thought it was an Oracle of Ages Seasons remaster. It's not. This is new.
Oh yeah, it's just like I was saying, it's like the Dread version of Link's Awakening.
It's a Zelda game. It's a game where you play as Zelda.
Oh. It's a remake of Zelda's Adventure.
You couldn't play as Zelda in Zelda's Adventure. It is. You play as Zelda.
No, I'm talking about Zelda's Adventure, the one for the CDI.
Oh, was there one? Okay.
There was Wand of Gamelon, Face of Evil, and Zelda's Adventure.
Echoes of Wisdom. Ooh, yes, please.
Oh. Ooh. I hope she's not just Link, Zelda with a sword. She's not just Link in a dress. I want her to actually play differently.
What you just saw was the latest installment, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
Ooh.
This time around,
Watch, the cover is going to be the same as Link's Awakening, except Zelda there.
Princess Zelda to step into the protagonist role. You might be thinking, will Zelda fight with a sword then? Here, we wanted to create a new gameplay style that breaks conventions.
Okay.
Past Legend of Zelda games with a top-down perspective.
Good.
To explain more, please take a look at this video.
Okay. Does look like they want to mix things up. Okay.
Stolen away. Across the vast lands of
Gameplay. Stolen away.
Drifts have appeared and have taken many people.
Reminds me of Minish Cap. You kind of have to restore the
now
stuff.
Alone, Zelda meets the fairy Tri, receives a
Oh, no.
mysterious staff called the Tri-Rod, and sets off on a
Tri-Rod?
journey across
Right.
Hyrule to save her kingdom.
As long as it's not Fi.
By waving the Tri-Rod at a table she found, Zelda learned how to create an imitation of it called an
Ooh,
echo.
a table.
Once you learn an echo of something, you can recreate it whenever you'd like.
Oh dear.
Even if there's a wall blocking your path,
Her magic ability is summoning a table.
to get a leg up. Just like that. You can create wooden boxes, old beds, and unusual things like water blocks. How you
And
use
a
them
crate.
separately or
And a
together
bed.
is entirely
Huh.
up
An
to you.
ice block.
This looks quite
You can create
open.
echoes of things you find while exploring Hyrule. You might be surprised at what you discover.
Okay.
Even battles will look different. You could
I don't know.
rock echo, for
I don't know
example.
what to think yet.
That's
Yeah.
not all, though. You can also create echoes of monsters. After doing so, they'll fight by your side.
Okay, so she does play considerably differently from
Monsters
Link,
have
so she's not just using a
different abilities,
sword.
so choose the one you want to create
She summons
based on
other
the
enemies to fight
situation.
for her.
Wisdom is key after all.
I mean, that makes sense because she is supposed to represent the Triforce of Wisdom rather than Courage, so her gameplay is going to be different.
Courage, yeah.
I'm not opposed to this. It looks very different.
The fate of the
Echoes of
kingdom is
Wisdom.
now
I guess they're... Yeah.
Get close to the mic again.
How was that?
I'm blindsided by this. I mean,
Demonstration of the echo ability.
I suppose since we got the Princess Peach game,
Yeah, they're trying to do the whole let's give the females a run for their money this time instead.
How you solve puzzles and
but I do like it that they're actually leaning into the character's strengths and not just making it a gender swap version of the main character, which is good.
And I like that...
The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom launches September.
September! Ooh!
A Nintendo Switch Lite system inspired by the
Oh, that looks really good, but I'm not going to buy it.
We hope you're looking forward to
Golden
playing as
Switch
Zelda
Lite.
in this new adventure.
I mean, it looks very different.
Turn this moment-eyed, stolen away back to Mr. Takahashi.
I will give it...
Down for it.
It looks different, and I like that.
Please look forward to the newest entry.
So we've got 10 minutes
in the Zelda
left.
series.
Probably more headlines.
Let's see a
I'm-
few more headlines.
Yeah.
I'm for. They're gonna end with like one more big one, obviously. They're gonna do headlines, then one
Christ.
final
I'm
big,
going to mute this for a
big
minute.
game.
This is almost certainly going to get me a copyright strike if I don't mute this. I'm just going to mute this Just Dance thing for a second. No one cares. It's Just Dance. Literally no one gives a shit.
That is a grotesque art style. That is just a grotesque art style.
Oh, they don't care about the art style. It's not about the art. For them. You know, this is just a cash grab. It's also getting a release on the PS2 and the Nintendo Wii, so, you know.
Hotline Miami sequel looks weird.
There won't be one of those. They blew up the world at the end of the second one.
I don't even remember that. I didn't like Hotline Miami 2.
No one did. That was the point. It was a game deliberately created to end the franchise. Literally. They made it deliberately overly hard on purpose, and then at the end just killed everybody because fuck you for forcing us to make a sequel we didn't want.
A new Lego adventure
Really?
is on the horizon.
Well, that's my theory behind it.
It's the world of Horizon.
Lego
in
Horizon.
Lego form.
I do not understand why this exists. Like, I like Horizon Zero Dawn. That was a fantastic fucking game.
Deep into the cauldrons.
Why the
Yeah,
hell
I
do
like
we need
Horizon.
this?
I like Lego.
Traverse other locations and
But I don't... Yeah, I like Lego too. Why does this exist?
swarms of machines
Like,
are lurking everywhere.
are they that desperate for cash or something?
Gadgets like blast boots and gravity bombs
They
to hunt
can't
'em
be.
down.
The Lego games are always very big sellers.
I
want another, like, open world, like, original Lego thing. Like, Lego City Undercover was phenomenal.
Yeah, I need to get back into playing that. I started playing it. I got it some way through. I don't really know how long. And I kind of got distracted with other games. But I did enjoy my time playing Undercover.
Don't have to explore this vast wilderness alone. Team
I
up
love
with
the sense of humor in that. Undercover had a great sense of humor.
popular online co-op. Lego Horizon Adventures launches on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, you watch. This is going to be fucking canon to the story. You're going to have to play this if you want to know what the storyline of the Horizon
What
franchise
happens after
is.
Forbidden West?
I haven't played
Stray
that yet.
coming to Switch. I hear it's okay.
Forbidden West or Stray?
Stray.
Yeah, I've heard it's fine. Ooh, that looks very janky. That does not look as good as the other version did.
Through the eyes of a cat, separated from their
I mean, understandable, but...
explore alongside a drone known as B-12 to find your way
A
home.
lot of people have said that the Little Kitty Big City game is just way, way better for basically the same premise.
Paths for yourself.
Yeah, it's like shorter,
as a
but because it's like
cat.
more focused, it's more like, you know, going for fun.
To make your way.
Little Kitty Big City is a game I want to play at some point. This is a game I'd like, well, if I get the chance, I'll play it,
Everyone is
but...
excited to have you you slinking around.
It's a walking simulator basically, and a little dystopian thing. Just you play as a cat instead.
I mean, I'm not against that. I like walking simulators, but it depends. I play good walking simulators and I play bad walking simulators, you know?
Dear Esther.
Yep. That's the one I always hold up as the worst.
Welcome home, Hobbit.
What the fuck?
If you've ever wanted to live like a hobbit from the Lord
Hobbit.
of the Rings, now a leisurely existence.
What do you mean,
Hobbit.
if I've ever wanted
Tales
to
of
live
the
like a
Shire.
hobbit?
Corner of Middle-earth
A
can be yours.
Lord of the Rings game.
Customize your appearance.
I mean,
Decorate
the
your
hobbits
home,
seem to have the
and
most
settle
fun.
into life in
No,
the
I was gonna say, you know, what do you mean if? I never leave my little room. I always
Oh,
walk around without
right.
wearing any shoes or socks. Like, other than the height thing, yeah, sure.
Explore.
Yeah, this is...
But if everybody's that height, then it doesn't matter.
Build a Hobbit community is by hosting a dinner
Hobbit Crossing. Yeah, it's basically Lord of the Rings does Animal Crossing. It's another farming / life sim.
special ingredients for even tastier meals. Friendly hobbits and familiar faces await your arrival when Tales of the Shire launches on the Nintendo
Which, I mean,
Switch system
if you're gonna make a
this
Lord of the
holiday.
Rings game, that's kind of one of the more reasonable ones.
Investigate, interrogate, checkmate.
Oh, Ace Attorney? Oh no, this is the other one, isn't it? Yeah.
Games, including a sequel
Apollo
that was
Legend.
previously unreleased outside of Japan, are coming to
Ace
Nintendo
Attorney
Switch
Investigations
as one
Collection.
collection.
So it's like all 6
As the
games or
prolific
something?
Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, take the case out of the courtroom and investigate crime scenes. Gather information by interviewing people and inspecting
Oh no,
evidence.
this is
Then
different.
use the power
I've never
of
played
plot
any
to
of
solve
these
challenging
games.
cases. Enjoy all new hand-drawn character visuals from the original series character design.
I've never
And if you like
played...
adventure games, the Ace Attorney games are super good.
I've heard they're good, and I know there was that crossover with Layton, that I also never played.
They're also very good if you're into just like courtroom drama procedurals, because those can also be really engaging, especially if you're like because it's the idea of beating someone with logic is always fun.
I suppose.
Really.
On Nintendo eShop.
Oh goody, look, another anime game. You know,
Footage not final.
people bitch and moan about the number of farming and life sims. This is what I get really annoyed at. It's also samey.
I should recognize that character, but I don't.
They all look the same. How do you fuck tell the difference?
After a devastating attack by
The hair.
unknown assailants, Takumi Samino's life gets turned upside down.
Usually from some porn somewhere.
Suddenly appears.
Is this a Persona
To
game?
get out of harm's way, he's then forced to enroll at
Possibly.
the Last Defense Academy, along with 15 other.
This is Persona.
Is this a fucking...
No, this is Persona.
Is this a Persona...
Their mission
It's like Persona 2 remastered or something.
enemies for
Maybe?
100 days.
Is that a Persona Tower Defense?
Shrouded in secrecy.
Oh, Persona Tactics?
Unavoidable loss of
Tactica?
allies. Can Takumi survive this 100-day trial, colored by extreme and despair, and return to his normal life? The creators of Danganronpa present the 100-line Last Defense Academy,
No.
launching on Nintendo Switch.
No, it wasn't. It looked like a Persona game. I mean, it had the bloody classroom mechanic and everything. Okay.
Last Defense Academy. Okay.
Generations.
Saga?
Ooh, Saga.
A full remake of Romancing Saga 2 is marching on to
Okay.
Nintendo Switch.
Romancing Saga 2.
Never played a Saga game, but sure.
Rule and expand the empire
Final
of
Fantasy
generations,
Legend
while
was
challenging
technically a
the
Saga
legendary
game.
7 heroes.
It was just branded as Final Fantasy Legend
I don't think I ever played that one.
1 and 2.
In
That was the one you it's for the Game Boy. It's an RPG where you can choose like a human, a mutant, a robot, or a monster, and they all kind of have different
Turn-based battles have also evolved into
they have
timeline
different
battles,
skills and
where
things.
the action
Right.
order is key. Innovative features like United Attack can also help with strategy. How will you expand your empire? And in which order will you fight the 7 heroes? Every decision you make will dramatically alter the course of the story.
Subian.
Yeah, it's like, whatever, I don't care.
And protect your legacy from peril.
My list of things that I'm genuinely interested in is quite small, but some interesting ones. Okay, what's the last big announcement going to be? Because we're at 40 minutes, and they said it was going to be around 40 minutes, so what's your big surprise? Come on.
We hope you're excited to experience
What's the final one?
Of Romancing Saga 2. That's almost everything for today's Nintendo Direct. Next will be our last announcement.
What's it going to be?
Please take a look.
Please take a look. What is it gonna be? Cosmic Year 20X9? Oh shit.
What is it?
Galactic Federation Research Facility.
Oh, I think this is it.
Oh.
I think this is it. Look at that. That looks good.
That's her. That's Samus. That's right there.
Oh god. Is this finally what the fuck? If you fucking blue ball us on this, I think this is Prime 4.
It looks like Halo.
Well, there was always a bit of crossover there. It's yeah, this is Prime 4. It's got to be.
I believe. So you're finding like a.
Don't joke about that, Jagoth. Don't even fucking joke about Federation Force 2. I mean, it could be, but could be Prime Hunters 2.
The Prime Battle Royale.
Wait, isn't that?
It's Psylocke.
No, it's Prime...
they always mention that Psylocke is going to be a main character.
Prime 4 Beyond. Give us a date. Give us a date, you bastard. Oh, no, it's still going. $2025. Fuck.
Of course.
Oh, I wanted it to be sooner.
2025, probably.
That was a first look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. After a very long time, we are finally able to share more information about this title. Release is planned for 2025. So please wait a little
Prime
bit
4
longer.
Beyond.
We hope
Oh, that's a subtitle. That's good.
Samus Aran's new adventure. That's all for today's Nintendo Direct.
Because that guy in the blue armor, he was from Hunters, wasn't he?
Yes, they mentioned that a long time ago that Psylocke was going to be taking a major role in it as a villain.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, they mentioned that back before they changed Prime 4 to like something else. Back before they like restarted development.
I was hoping for a little more information on Prime 4, but we got our first little look, so I can't be too unhappy with that.
The important thing they acknowledge that it still exists. I mean, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming sometime in the next 18 months.
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm still convinced that's going to be a dual release on both systems. So, yeah, I guess. Wow. Okay. So.
Will Prime 4 have they can't have the X because this all takes place before Super.
Yeah, I was going to say it takes place before. Yeah, because I mean, it depends. Because they may have moved it timeline-wise. Although her suit looked like the old suit rather than her fusion suit, so it probably takes place before the events of Fusion at the very least. But yeah, canonically, the Prime Trilogy takes place... A Prime Quadrilogy, I suppose now. Takes place between 1 and 2, I believe. But yeah, I mean... we knew it was coming. It was just a question of when, and I really wish we'd had this more specific date. I wish it had been this year, because now I know I've got at least to wait 6 fucking months. Probably closer to 8 or 10, maybe even a year, depending on how things shake out. So, fucking blue balling us, really. But
they showed it. They showed what it looks like. They showed essentially gameplay.
As soon as it said, like, what was that opening bit? Hang on, let's rewind back to that. Where was it? It
29X or something?
Yeah, hang on. It was right at the end.
Cosmic Year 20X9 Galactic Federation Research Facility.
Yeah, Cosmic Year 20X9, which is kind of how the original one, like the original Metroid was like 20X5 or something like that.
And that's weird because, like, why is the X the second digit or the second to last digit? Because usually X is just abbreviation for decade.
Yeah, I think it's just continuing on what they started in the first game. I think it's just continuing on the thing. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond a Long Wait. Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond the Pale. You know, it's just... Yeah.
You had Prime, and then it was Echoes, and then Corruption, and then Beyond.
So. Yeah, so... Yeah, we got that. Then we got a really, really good look at that ship. Like... As soon as I saw the ship, I was like, oh, this has got to be a new game, because I've never seen a ship that looks like that. And then we got a really good look at Samus herself there. That suit looks great. Like, that looks really, really good. Because you said that it was... What was the name of the blue guy again? Psylocke. Sylux, sorry.
Sylux.
Yeah, because he was in Hunters, and a lot of people speculated that ship at the end of Prime 3 was his ship, didn't they? I'm pretty sure that was a thing. But yeah, so we get a look, you know, you get the ship, she does a little boop, 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 boop thing. Looks like she's landing down in some sort of war zone, which is interesting. I'm looking at the UI right now. We got the map in the top corner, that's cool. Again, that was same.
It's either a war zone. Or I think she's been called for backup after a pirate attack on like a Federation base.
Yeah. It's kind of like the opening of 3 in a way, really, which makes sense. I mean, you know, the Federation can't handle any of their own problems, so they have to.
It is supposed to be kind of a direct sequel to 3, of course.
I'm looking at the UI right now. Doesn't really look like they've changed it all that much from the first one.
No, it just kind of looks like a...
Although I will say, the big difference seems to be that missiles are on your D-pad, or, you know, the D buttons, rather than the beam weapon switching. So it seems likely we're only going to get the one beam and it'll stack, rather than having to switch beams all the time, which I'm kind of okay with that. The beam switching in Metroid Prime 1 was really fucking annoying.
It's not so much that the beam switching was annoying, it's that you had to do it every time you needed to open a door, even if you opened the door multiple times before.
Yeah, that's what was they fixed that in Prime 2, because in Prime 2, the covers are just like a one-time only thing. Whereas in Prime 1, it's like every time you want to open the door, you need the fucking cover. It's one of the things I wish they changed in the remaster.
Unless it's a missile door.
Well, yeah, unless it's a missile. Missile door is a one-time only thing. But the beam ones were like... It's like, it wouldn't have been a problem if it was just a few doors. But 9 times out of 10, it's like, you want to use your most powerful beam, which is typically like the plasma beam, because that can just melt normal enemies. Literally. And then you're just constantly switching back to the fucking wave beam every 5 minutes if you're going through Fendrana or something. And it's really irritating. So, looking at the UI, they've got missiles on the left. Sorry, on the right button. It could be, like, what other things could go there? You could have, like, super missiles, but I don't know if that'll be an upgrade or a charge version.
It'll probably be a right trigger for gun, right bumper for missiles.
Possibly. I mean, you got the missile counter on the right there, which, again, that's very much like the original game. But yeah, it looks like she's been called into, obviously, what is a battlefield. So as you say, it could be a raid on a pirate stronghold, or it could be that this is a Federation stronghold and the pirates are attacking.
Stylux has Metroids on his side.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't say much on the scanning information about the space pirate, just that it is a space pirate. Obviously, you get the morph ball. I mean, it looks like Metroid Prime. Like, I can't complain about how it looks. It looks like another Metroid Prime game. What was that disappeared off in the background then? What is that? Like, you get a bunch of space pirates. It looks like a bunch of researchers are dragging something out. But I can't see what it is. It's too much in the background. Looks like some kind of artifact. But I can't. So I've never done a deep dive on a video harder than I'm doing this right now. I can't quite tell what it is. It looks like some kind of artifact, and it looks like there's a bunch of scientists. Maybe that's what Silex is after.
Probably. It's kind of Dead Spacey.
I can't tell what it is though.
It looks like it's kind of like a diamond-shaped little thing.
Yeah. So we got the lock-on system. That's more or less the same. Silex breaks through the glass, and he's got Metroids with him, which implies tamed Metroids. Which was always kind of
which we've never seen before.
Yeah, not really. Metroids were always like
except for the baby.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, maybe.
So yeah, maybe he's managed to tame his own Metroids the same way Samus, the Metroids imprinted on her. Perhaps,
like maybe he worked that out. But don't forget, this
would be a twist.
This is canonically before 2, so Samus wouldn't know that yet. So that could be an interesting thing. Or they could have been tamed another way. Because, like, taming Metroids was something the Space Pirates always wanted to do, but they were never able to do it. It was like, it was their big goal, and they were never able to achieve it. All they could work out was that Metroids are very susceptible to cold. That was it. That's why the Metroid research facility is in Phendrana in Prime 1, because it's cold. But the Metroids themselves look a bit different. I don't know if it's a different design or if it's something else. They do look slightly different.
You don't know if that's a game lore difference or just like
a stylistic change. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna chalk it up to a style change until we find out otherwise. But normally they have like the 3 orbs inside, and these ones only have 1.
True, yeah.
So it could be that these are literally a mutation that has less brain power, which could be why they're easier to manipulate, perhaps. But maybe that makes them...
because like Metroids seem to be incredibly susceptible to mutations and radiation, because you see all the different variants in Prime.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So, and the two definitely seem
like they're smiling. They almost look like they have like. You see that? You almost look like they have eyes and a nose there, and they're smiling.
Lobotomized Metroids? I mean, could be. At least in a roundabout kind of way. I love this last shot of just like the sweep across the waterfall with the giant arch tree. There's always a fucking giant tree. Why is there always a giant tree?
Humans to cut them down.
I suppose. Oh,
again, Elden Ring.
Oh, no, that's the wrong one.
Elden Ring Metroid.
Hang on. I'm pressing the wrong buttons there. There are some ruins on the left side. Chozo, maybe? It's impossible to tell at this distance.
Oh, yeah, there's a big
bridge.
A big bridge.
Yeah, but there you have it. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which... bit of a generic name, but I will say I do quite like the logo. Is a bit weird. It almost looks like a black hole.
Like slightly organic. It looks like that black hole picture.
It looks like a black hole, and I'm wondering if maybe that's the point. The Beyond thing is that Samus has been transported to like another system or something like that. So I'm wondering if that's perhaps what it is.
Very much like a wormhole kind of black hole wormhole thing.
Beyond Phazon, maybe it is purple rather than blue, which I think is interesting. It depends.
They were supposed to basically they ended the Phazon trilogy with corruption, right? That was like the end of Phazon, essentially.
Yes, whether they'll bring it back or not, I don't know. Because I mean, obviously, Prime was supposed to originally be a trilogy. The fact that we've got a fourth one is more brand recognition than anything else. So, excuse me. So yeah, it could just be that this is the start of a brand new storyline. Entirely possible. It could be that maybe Phazon will return in some way. Because I remember when they very first announced Metroid 4, there was it was all done in like this blue mist swirl thing, and I always imagined, oh, that's like the ruins of Phase. And it's like, oh, maybe something of Dark Samus did survive in that. But obviously they've dropped the blue motif now. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things we're going to just have to wait and see what happens now. It really is a thing of just... We know it exists, we've had our first few glimpses of it, and now we play the waiting game.
The waiting game sucks. Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Yeah, well, someone had to make the joke. So anyway, other than Metroid 4, or Metroid Prime 4, I should say, what else did we get? There was Mario and Luigi Brothership, which is an odd fucking name. I'm just throwing it out there. That's a very strange name to call something. I've never played a Mario Luigi game.
Your autocorrect doesn't even recognize it.
Yeah, exactly. There was that Memories in Orbit. I keep an eye on that. I don't necessarily know if that's something I will buy, but maybe fine. Maybe a fun little thing. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Again, if you like Donkey Kong Country Returns, I'm sure having a version on the Switch would be nice. We've got the Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 2D HD remaster, remakes, whatever the hell you want to call it. I am interested in those, I will say. Weird that they're releasing 3 and then 1 and 2. You think they just release all 3 of them as like a bundle or something like that, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because it is a thing of like 3 was a prequel to 1. And so the order literally is...
But also the fact that Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are simpler games at their core. Dragon Quest 1 is a very, very short RPG. There's literally like one side quest and you can ignore it.
Fair enough. Alright, yeah. So, I mean, as I say, I'm interested in that. Be curious. Obviously, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Well, we've known that's coming for a while. Perfect Dark on NSO. I mean, it's a nice to see. I don't have NSO, and I'm not going to buy it just for Perfect Dark. But it's a nice to have, I guess. Then there was Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, that looks interesting. Echoes of Wisdom, I do like the fact that Zelda looks like she plays totally differently than Link.
Let's see if I can find it on the... Oh, come on, load properly. It's not loading properly. Come on. You can do it. Am I going to have to refresh you? Oh, no, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we got... So yeah, it looks like it's just Ganon does something, Link disappears, so it's up to Zelda to save the day, which I like. I mean, it's as good an excuse to have a Zelda game as any. Literally, a literal Zelda game. This is the first time we've had like an actual Legend of Zelda game, you know. So Echoes of Wisdom, that's a really nice title as well. I mean, it makes sense when you consider,
Love for Wand of Gamelon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Echoes, because you use Echoes, and then she has the Triforce of Wisdom as her represent. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it certainly, it looks good. Obviously using the engine they use for the Link's Awakening remake, which we did talk about. You know, we've said, oh, they've got this engine, why don't they do something with it? And it looks like that's probably why it took a while for this to come out, because presumably, like, nailing down what they wanted this gameplay to be probably took them a while. Because this feels very different from any other Zelda game. Like, it's certainly interesting. It really is. Just the idea that you can just take any random object and then just respawn it into the map any way you want to is... I mean, it's such a cool idea, isn't it? It almost gives it kind of a Minecraft-y feel.
Yeah, I was going to say Minecraft or like Dragon Quest Builders.
Yeah. Where you can just drop stuff down. As long as
the items themselves fulfill a particular purpose, then I can see some interesting interactions. Because that's almost not quite exactly the way Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom played, because you could like move objects around and have like different interactions and things. Except that this is a bit more grid based, a bit more specific.
It does seem as though it's a case of solve things your way. Like
I hope so.
It wants to take that Breath of the Wild idea of, okay, here's all your tools, go for your life.
And here's a puzzle. Here's a puzzle. Choose how you want to solve it.
Yeah. It does make me wonder, though, if there's like a lot of items you can use, if maybe the menu's going to be a bit wild to have to deal with, but I'm sure they're working on that. I do like that Zelda can at least pick up a rock. Like, that's something at least. And you can you can make your own enemies and stuff. That's cool. They probably don't last forever, but... Oh, that's interesting, actually, looking back. You've got a little oxygen meter that looks right out of Breath of the Wild there. That's fun. Yeah, that's wild, though. If you look at the actual UI, it still screams Zelda. Like, you've got your wand thing here, you got your hearts. So we're still going to be doing, like, heart containers and stuff. That's interesting. Yeah, it's certainly not something I expected, and I'm always happy to be surprised by a new Nintendo game. So I'm happy with that. Definitely something that's quite interesting. Yeah, okay. So yeah, and then of course there was Prime 4, which we've already talked about at length. So I would say a very good Direct.
There was a couple of announcements that really surprised me. I really think you should look into a Fantasian, because that's because a lot of people have been clamoring for that, because the biggest death knell for it was the fact that it was on the Apple TV.
Yeah, well,
but it's basically a Final Fantasy game without Final Fantasy. It's made by Mistwalker Studio, which is Hironobu Sakaguchi's studio. So it's basically Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Well, it certainly... I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see how it does when it gets out. But, yeah. So, all things considered, really good. As I said, Prime 4 was, of course, the big one. I had my fingers crossed when they were like, just one more thing, because they always do that. Here's one final announcement. And we got Prime 4, and it's coming in 2025. I guess at this point, it kind of means we're not going to get a Prime 2 or 3 remaster. I mean, it could happen, maybe, but I'm feeling that's a little less likely.
They would have to be very fast shadow drops, and that's not... Because, so the first Prime was, a year and a half ago, essentially.
Yeah, I think they would have done 2 by now if they were gonna.
Yeah, definitely. If they were trying to space it out leading up to Prime 4.
Yeah, which is a shame. I do think they missed a trick there, but it is what it is. So, I will be honest with you. I was quite surprised. There was more stuff in there where I was like, oh, that's a nice thing. Oh, that's a nice thing. Like, obviously not everything in there was for me, but I'm not expecting everything in a Direct to be for me. But yeah, obviously Prime 4 was the big one. In terms of the guesses that was coming up, Farming Life Sims, yeah, of course I get that. As I said, that was kind of in there as a joke, because I knew that was going to happen. We did get talk about the Luigi Mansion 2 remaster, no Prime 2 remaster, no Samus Returns remaster, nothing about the new Layton game, but that was a punt. We did get Metroid Prime 4, which I said was unlikely. But as I said, I figured we'd get that closer to the release of the Switch 2.
Oracle of Ages Seasons remaster, which not quite, but we did sort of.
We did sort of get something with that game's engine. So, you know what? I'm okay with there not being an Oracle of Ages Seasons remaster, because Echoes of Wisdom, I think, will cover that. It does make me wonder, though, about, like, how is that game going to play in terms of, like, how it does dungeons? Because with a game that has that much stuff that's that open, how is it going to gatekeep you? Or is it not going to bother? You know? Like, that really makes me wonder that. Because you had Link Between Worlds, which sort of gatekeeps your items ability, kinda, but not really. You could buy or rent all those tools right from the off, especially once you got into the second half of the game. So, yeah, I'm wondering if that's just going to be, okay, here's like 8 objectives. Good luck. You know, going to be like, you know, Breath of the Wild or whatnot. So, yeah, and we didn't get a Wind Waker or Twilight Princess remaster, but I put that in unlikely because the more people ask for it, the less likely Nintendo is to do it. And hey, I was right about no Star Fox, Kid Icarus, or Rare Replay. Although, I mean, we did get the...
You got Donkey Kong, so that's sort of rare.
Kinda. We did get the Perfect Dark thing, which was part of it, but Rare Replay also had like Banjo-Kazooie and all that stuff, which a lot of people would love to see on a Nintendo console at some point, but I don't know.
Banjo-Kazooie's on NSO.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, I forgot about that. I actually forgot about that. But, I mean, with Toys for Bob going independent, assuming I'm not misremembering that, I'm sure I heard that somewhere. I think they bought themselves out of Activision or whoever the hell it was. I'm hoping maybe we can get a Banjo-Kazooie remaster out of them. That'd be nice. Because they did great with Spyro. I know that I've heard the rumors they're working on Spyro 4. I'll believe that when I see it. I think there's a lot of games I could see Toys for Bob working for, because the guy in charge of Toys for Bob said he wanted to do a Space Station Silicon Valley remaster, and I'm like the only person in the world who went, yes! I'm one of the few people who remember that game.
I was at a, like I said, I was at a convention the other week, and I was at a Pat the NES Punk panel, and he recently finished a book on all the Nintendo 64 games. And people ask him, like, what was a game that you ended up discovering was actually pretty awesome that you'd never heard about before? And he mentioned Rocket Robot on Wheels.
I've heard about that. I've not played it myself, but I have heard about it. So yeah, I think the 64 does have several hidden gems that people might not realize are better than you think. Space Station Silicon Valley is one of them, although it's kind of janky. And it's also weird when
retro jank.
Yeah, that kind of retro jank. That sort of jankiness you expect from early 3D games, you know?
Especially on the N64. The N64 was kind of... The N64 was really pushing developers to use the 3D even when the game didn't need it. That's why you ended up with like Castlevania 64.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it was... I mean, I can understand it, because it's like, well, you've got this new console, and it can do 3D. You want people to use that, you know? Because that's kind of the selling point of the fucking console, so... Kane says, my forever no way is eternal darkness anything. Die of old age, pointlessly hoping. Well, the thing is, Silicon Knights, who made Eternal Darkness, they died on their arse. And there were people making that Shadow of the Eternals, which was going to be like a spiritual successor. And that died on its ass when the guy behind it got accused of pedophilia. So that was fun. I don't think that ended up actually going to anything. I think it was just people on the internet being people on the internet. But I could be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I bothered looking anything like that up. But that died on its arse. And at this point, Christ only knows. But I mean, I would almost argue, do we need Eternal Darkness anymore? Like, if you look at, like, frictional games, they've kind of taken up the mantle of a lot of that stuff. You know, in terms of, like, horror and this, that, the other. So, it's like, I know that Eternal Darkness is a brand, and it's got a style very particular, but the thing is, the whole fourth wall breaking jump scares, not as revolutionary as they used to be. Like, Eternal Darkness was the first game to really do that. But these days, fourth wall breaks in a game are just fucking all over the place. Like, there is no fourth wall, really, these days, you know? So, I don't know if an Eternal Darkness game would have the impact now that it did back when it came out, you know? Like, it is one of those things where you're playing Eternal Darkness and it does the whole volume going down thing, and I'm just like, we don't fucking have that anymore. Like, we don't have these giant...
What could they even do with a new... Like, what sort of stuff could they even do with the new Eternal Darkness game? Like, what sort of interactions could they do to break the fourth wall? Would they, like, send you out to the main menu or something?
You'd probably get...
I mean, with the interactivity that you have with the PS5, that's actually kind of interesting, because if you are a subscriber to, like, the PlayStation 5, like, Pro, you can, like, load things in for the menu that it'll, like, load you into the game in a particular state. So, like, it'll see what you have to do next on your file and say, oh, yeah, you still need to collect all these. We can put you in a place where you can easily collect them. And you just say, okay, do that, and it'll actually load you into the game in this position.
Yeah.
I know Kojima really wanted to get into that kind of crazy shit.
Yeah,
because Kojima's always been about that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, he really loves breaking the fourth wall in his games. That's kind of always been his shtick. I mean, the first Metal Gear Solid game had a thing where you literally had to unplug the controller and put it in the second slot to stop this guy from reading your inputs. You know, it's like...
Psycho Mantis.
Yeah, that one.
He'll read your memory card and say, you like playing Castlevania, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, which, yeah, I mean, that's really good, but it is one of those things where you're like, well, I kind of know these tricks. I mean, my guess would be if it was a PC game, you could almost have it like Doki Doki Literature Club, where it will literally create files on your computer that you can look at, and you'll get like more information than what's just being presented on the screen and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff you can do about that, and I think there are things you could do to make Eternal Darkness very different. But would it
especially if you have crazy, not fourth wall, but like uncanny valley shit, especially with what we have now with like AI generated images, they could like use AI to generate something based on the files on your computer and like put them in the game.
I mean, do you remember Silent Hill Shattered Memories? Which was a Wii game that was actually a remake of the first Silent Hill that was a remake in name only. It was borderline a completely different game. And the idea of that is the game would quote-unquote read you and then change depending on like your actions. Like, did you spend a long time staring at one particular thing in like a room trying to work it out? Well, maybe that will change what the game was. It was very simple because it was a fucking Wii game. But again, that kind of stuff is the sort of thing you can see perhaps doing on that front, because I think the problem is with something like this is it's so open with the kinds of stuff you can do, because, you know, technology is just like better now. But the one thing I would argue with all of that is, what system would you release it for, and how many things would you be able to do exclusively on that system? Like, would you literally have to have 4 versions of the game, one for PC, one for Switch, one for Xbox, one for PlayStation? It's like, because each system runs differently, you either have one thing that is very generic, or you have literally different versions of the game for different operating systems. Now, that sounds like a fantastic idea, because then everybody who plays it is going to have a slightly different experience. But I would not even want to imagine the technical nightmare.
Yeah, I would imagine if you were to do a new Eternal Darkness, it would have to be a console exclusive, and then get additional funding from that studio, from that company like Microsoft or Sony.
Nintendo owns the IP for Eternal Darkness? I mean, that's possible. I guess it depends on what happens.
Yeah, it would have to be on the Switch or Switch 2.
But I don't think
That's
Nintendo
like
cares
the only way that
about.
It would work.
I don't think Nintendo cares about Eternal Darkness. Like, that's one of those ones they're just like happy to languish in IP hell. So, yeah. I mean, there is a lot of stuff you could
Smash
do.
Brothers.
But... Sorry.
Write us for Smash Brothers.
She was in Ultimate. She was an what is it called? Them echoes, ghosts. What were those things? Spirits.
A spirit.
Yeah, she was a spirit. Which was a surprise, but I mean, Nintendo have always been, or at least Smash Brothers has always had like, let's go into our back catalog as far as we can, you know, kind of stuff. You'd have to play the game on each system to get the full ending. Fuck that noise! Like, it's bad.
One is.
It's bad enough.
Yeah, each one is a different god.
I mean, firstly, that's a fantastic idea, but also no fucking way, because when you consider that the average video game,
I would. Yeah.
Yeah, like $70 or 60 quid for each fucking game.
On each game.
And you'd have to have the console.
I have a PS5 and a Switch, but I don't have an Xbox.
So you'd either have to like borrow a friend's or you'd buy the fucking console. Like, no. That is up there with like fucking Kingdom Hearts levels of own every system if you want to understand the story of our games. Like, no, fuck off. You missed one games for $70. Well, you're Canadian, Jagoff. Aren't your dollars slightly different?
This is when games were less than 70, because games are going to be upwards of 70 now.
Oh yeah, with tipping. Don't forget to tip.
Oh. That. Which, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised games have taken this long to get up in price, because they've been $60 pretty much for as long as gaming has been around. Like, if you look at those old catalogs from the 90s, games were like $60 back then.
I don't know.
Nintendo 64 games were 80.
Games are 60 quid now. When I was 64 games were 30 quid when I was growing up. I remember that. They were £30. And I'm sure they were 20.
New or
new? I'm sure they were 30 quid.
Huh.
I'm sure I remember buying games at 30 quid. I mean, it may have varied. Maybe there were some that were 40 if they were like first party versus third party.
It's like at launch, games for the N64 were like $60 to $80.
I think you were getting hosed.
At least in the US.
Maybe I am misremembering they were like 40 quid. And I'm thinking of like, because it was like $39.99 and the 30 is stuck in my head. That's possible, but I could have sworn they were 30 quid back in the day. So I might be misremembering that. Maybe my brain is playing tricks on me, but I could have sworn I remember buying games for 30 quid back in the day. I don't know. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe my memory is completely fucked. Well, maybe it is. But yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, but I mean, you know, games prices are going to go up, but it's like it's not necessarily that I mind games prices going up. It's why are games prices going up? Like, are they going up because we're getting more game? Are they going up because the people making them are being paid fairer, or are they going up just to make a couple of shareholders happy? Like, it's not the
honestly they're going up because inflation. Because like I said, they've always been kind of in that range. At least in America, things have always been in the $60 range. And that's going back to the 90s. So now a $60 game is worth like half the price that it was back then. So yeah, you would have to increase it a bit, at least just to keep up with inflation. I think gaming there's a lot of greedy shit going on in gaming. I don't think the pricing is one of them. At least for a lot of, because you look at games like Madden and shit, which come out every year and are like, have this same kind of standard price for that, but then the games themselves have all these gacha things in it and like extra things, extra DLC and shit. That's greedy as fuck, but like still getting actual games is fairly reasonable price.
Yeah, it does depend on the games you're playing. I mean, it is worth pointing out I go out of my way to avoid that kind of shit, like on purpose. I do not play multiplayer games very specifically for that reason. You know, it's like, there are some games out there that look really good, but I won't touch them because they're online multiplayer games, and I like my credit card being where it is. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. There's a thing going back to like the old Monkey Island games. Like never pay more than $20 for a video game.
I remember that.
And I mean, you look at like indie titles that are in the range of like $10 to $15, and like if it's made by one guy and like you sell, because that's what Minecraft originally was, $15 for the first game, and he became a millionaire from that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's because like everybody under the sun bought it, often multiple times. Like, one of the things about that is that you had a lot of people who were buying the game over and over again to make different accounts, so the username would be a certain thing because they were doing Minecraft fucking stories or something like that. Like fucking Yogscast and people like that who were just getting lots of accounts with different names because they needed a character representation. But
of course, yeah. Which I mean, I bought a new Minecraft account a couple weeks ago just because I wanted to be able to join different servers anonymously.
Okay, fair enough.
It was on sale for half off. I'm like, sure, why not?
Fair enough. Yeah, but I mean, you know, we could complain about the state of the industry, and it's not like the state of the industry is great at the moment. But the thing is, this kind of shit is ultimately self-correcting because their level of greed is unsustainable. It cannot last. So,
and you look at Nintendo. Nintendo has always been doing is just make good games. Because you look at this shit and it's like, how can we innovate? How can we make fun games? Because like Sony is trying to be like Sony and Microsoft. They're trying to be all-in-one systems. They're trying to be entertainment centers. You can get YouTube on it. You can do Twitch. You can do all this stuff. You can make videos. You can edit them. Whereas Nintendo is just, here's a game. Here's a system. Here's some interesting things you can do with this system. You got motion controls. You got touchscreen. We're going to let developers playing around with it, and we're going to have fun experiences.
It is funny that Nintendo has very much been playing like the long con in a way. Like they've been playing the long game to beat Microsoft and Sony, and it's worked. Like, let's be honest, it's not just a case of, oh, it's working. No, it has already worked. They have won, essentially. Like, the Switch has been, I think it's the biggest selling console ever, ? If not, it's close. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to Google the numbers. I can't be bothered right now. But if it hasn't got all the way up to number 1, it must be bloody close.
Nintendo Switch has sold 141 million units.
Okay.
As of May 2024.
Fair enough.
Surpassing all-time sales of PlayStation 2 and Nintendo DS.
Really? Wow. Cool. So yeah, I mean, you know, Switch has made bank. I mean, I'm willing to bet like everybody getting sealed inside during the pandemic and buying Animal Crossing probably helped. But because let's be honest, the Switch was the console everybody went to. Now go on.
I was just saying, because there were other options as well, but like nobody could get a PS5 during the pandemic either.
Oh god, I mean, nobody could get a PS5 now, for fuck's sake. Like, they're still hard to get. And like, I mean, I
just thought it was funny because during the time there's a Twitter account who would tweet like when certain things are in stock, and he would like tweet like PlayStation 5s are in stock at Best Buy right now, but then at a later point he started tweeting out when places had the COVID vaccine.
Fair enough. I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, but that's because it was this account dedicated to like gaming deals, but it's like, I think this is important enough to try to spread this as well.
That's fair. But yeah, so I mean, you know, Nintendo are doing really, really well. Microsoft aren't doing terribly, but I think they're starting to feel like the squeeze, because I think in a way they were over generous with Games Pass. And I think they've realized they can't keep that going, and they've kind of put themselves in a corner. But it's like, well, we can't change Game Pass. We don't really want to massively raise the price. Fuck it. What the fuck are we going to do about this? And the PS5, I kind of just imagine the PS5 sitting in a corner, rocking back and forth to themselves slowly, saying, I'm still the best. I'm still the best. I'm still the best.
And I have mine. I still play stuff on it, but it's sitting right here.
I just feel like the PS is kind of irrelevant these days. Like, you don't need it.
Well, the thing is, all the companies have kind of done stupid things. It's just Nintendo has done the fewest of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, Nintendo's console is great and their games are great, but as a company, they're still fucking ass. Like, they treat their fans so badly half the time. You know, it's like their copyright bullshit is absolutely extreme.
Copyright stuff is bullshit. Nintendo often believes that they know what's best for their fans. They know what their fans think they want, but they don't actually want. Because like fans have been talking about, we want a Pokemon game that lets you go to every region, and Nintendo is like, we've experimented with that. It turns out it's not all that fun.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Like, we want a new F-Zero game, and then the creator is like, I don't want to do a new F-Zero game just to have a new F-Zero game. I want to do a new F-Zero game if I have a good idea for one, and I haven't had a good idea for one. So
I mean, here's a good idea for a new F-Zero game: simultaneous online 100 racer races. Like, you could do that. Like, that would be something new for F-Zero, wouldn't it?
F-Zero 99.
Well, yeah, but I mean with like more modern graphics. But
yes, that is. I'm sure that that's what he's referring to.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but
best game of the Direct was Prime 4 for you?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to judge because we saw so little of it, didn't we? Like, there was barely anything there. Like, what we saw was fine, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's hard to get excited about a very short video and then a date that's at least 6 months away.
True.
But certainly the thing I want the most. But I would say best game that looks like it's... Actually, did we get a date on the Zelda game? But that was September, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Damn, I've closed the thing down. Have you got it on your end? I've already closed the video.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through it.
I think it said September, didn't it?
Was it at the end of the first half of the trailer or the second half?
I think it was at the end. I think.
That's Just Dance. The Hyrule Switch Lite Edition is available September 26th.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah, it's available September 26th. Yeah, this Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, September 26th.
Right. Okay. So yeah, sorry, when you said that, I thought for a split second, oh, is it just the Switch that's available at that point? But no, if the game is then, so yeah, September. So I think I'm more excited.
There's probably going to be a bundle of the game and the Switch Lite, probably.
Makes sense. So I think, generally speaking, I'm more excited about that because it's closer. Versus,
it's closer. It's also something we didn't know about before. Yes. It was an actual reveal because we knew about Prime 4. They're just saying, like, yes, Prime 4 still exists,
which is not a surprise. But yeah, sure. I mean, here's the thing. What we've seen of Prime 4 looks great. Like, visually, that game looks fantastic. Like, even for a Nintendo game, game looks very good. So that is the one that eventually I will be the most hyped about, but I want to temper my hype and expectations. So I will say, definitely looking forward to that. But of the games we're going to be playing this year, I'm probably most interested in the Zelda game because we're playing it this year. I mean, September's not that far away. You know, it's like what, 3-4 months?
Like 2-3 months.
Yeah. So
July, August, September.
Yeah, so we've only got about, quarter of a year to wait for that. No problem. Oh no, Jagoth has a question.
Oh dear.
Alright, brace yourself. Prime 4 release date 20X9.
Is this the first director we didn't get anything Kirby related for the Switch?
There must have been directs where we didn't get Kirby stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, surely some of the early ones.
Yeah, because the most recent Kirby was Forgotten Realm.
Well, there was Forgotten Lands, There was the remake of one of the older ones. I forget which one that was.
Return to Dreamland?
Something like that.
I think.
You don't just mean a new Kirby game? You mean
like a drop on NSO or something?
Here's the thing. I don't really remember.
It's hard to remember what wasn't announced at a previous Direct.
Yeah, it's like I don't remember what the hell was and wasn't in the last bunch of Directs. So, I mean, it may have been a while since we had one without Kirby in it, but I almost want to say, wasn't the last Direct, didn't that have no Kirby stuff in it? I don't actually remember when the last Direct was. Was there one in February? Did we skip the February one? I can't remember now.
I want to say February announced that we were getting Amazing Mirror, but I mean,
I don't know. I would literally have to go back and watch all the Directs to know for certain. But I'm not doing that. You just feel that the Switch got a lot of Kirby stuff. I mean, no reason not to. It's a popular franchise. And it's like maybe that was like the deal for... actually, no, he doesn't really do Kirby stuff, does he? I was going to say maybe that was the deal for Sakurai working on Ultimate. He wanted more Kirby stuff, but he doesn't really work on Kirby games anymore, does he?
No.
He may have created the squishy pink blob, but he has long since let that one drift off. So, or sort of do 5 hover jumps away from him or something. But yeah, how about you?
I think I'm about the same. I think Echoes of Wisdom is going to look really good, but I'm still interested in Fantasia, and I'm glad that we're finally getting that on console.
I mean, it's in a way.
Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 is going to be pretty cool too, because that just looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, as I said, I'd love to see Grandia done like that, but I doubt that'll ever happen because I don't even know who the fuck owns the rights to Grandia anymore. Because I know it was like, was it Gung Ho Games? They did the remasters of 1 and 2. Like the remaster 2 is okay, but remaster 1 is janky as fuck. Let me put it to you this way: the remaster of Grandia 1 is so broken that one of the cutscenes plays the wrong audio, and it's been in there since day one, and they have never fixed it. In fact, I don't think the remaster of Grandia 1 got any patches at all. They just released it and were like, there you go, you sort it. So, which is a shame, because it's my favourite JRPG, but hey ho, what are you going to do? But yeah, so, I mean, a lot of good stuff. So a few things to keep an interested eye on, I think. As you say, Dragon Quest 1, 2, 3, I'll definitely be looking forward to that. Obviously, Metroid Prime, that's the big one, but I'm going to focus for the Zelda game. The literal Zelda game, for a change.
I think the biggest misstep of this one is Funko Fusion. What the hell is that?
What was that? Like, I'm used to... excuse me, sorry, my voice is starting to go. Like, I am used to, games like these looking a bit cheap, but that actually looked unfinished. I am sure that was only running at like 20 frames a second. And like visually... Not
just the 20 frames, the resolution was really low.
Yeah, like it really did scream, this was a mobile game that we're porting, but we're not going to bother with any upscaling. But I don't think it was. Like, I think this is just them making a really shitty cash grab. I mean, it's Funko, so, the laziness is in the brand, but... yeah, it just looks bad. Looks really bad. So, I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Do you think they're going to try to use this to launch their own version of, like, the Toys to Life series, like Skylanders? Funko Toys to... I could totally see them trying to do that.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I was about to say, do you think they'd want to like re-release all their Funkos with like a thing in the base that reads it? Would people want that? But they probably would.
And so now people will be forced to open the boxes.
Box is worth more than the thing inside it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Funko, in case you can't tell. I don't think I've ever seen a Funko that looks good. You know, because, I mean, the thing about Funko is it's designed to be recognizable as a Funko Pop figure before it's recognizable as whatever the character is supposed to be. Like, that is the point of the brand, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that Funko one, Jesus Christ, that looked legitimately bad. It was the only game in the whole Direct that looked actually terrible. Like, all the rest of them looked fine, you know? Like, okay, a lot in there that I wasn't interested in, sure, but I think that's the first time in a Nintendo Direct I've gone, oh my god, what is that?
4 10-10 games.
Remember Nintendo did that with the Amiibo? They put a little disc in the packaging so people couldn't use them without opening the box.
You can't use them without opening the box.
Yeah.
There's a little silver disc that blocks the NFC chip.
Which is a bit of an asshole move, I suppose, but that's Nintendo. They want you to open the
Otherwise,
box.
you could just like walk into the store and tap it to your DS.
Yeah, I know that's kind of why they did it, but it still seems a little douchey. But I mean, I never really cared. I've only ever picked up.
I've done that at secondhand shops before. I've done that at secondhand shops before because they have like a bin full of Amiibo. It's like, oh, I haven't unlocked this one. Tap. Haven't unlocked this one. Tap.
Yeah, well, then you're an asshole then. So. But no, I never got into the whole.
I'm just unlocking Picross puzzles.
Yeah. I never bothered with the whole Amiibo thing. I think I've bought like 3 in my entire life. One was the Wolf Lincoln Midna Amiibo that they did for... Was that the HD Twilight Princess? I think it was, wasn't it? And probably. The only other one I got was the Metroid Dread, the 2-pack with Samus and the Emmy.
Samus and the Emmy, yeah. I actually have 2 of those. I have 2. I bought one, and then someone gave me one as a gift.
Fair enough.
So I have the Samus and the Emmy. I have Cloud that I haven't opened, and I have King Dedede. I have Sheik. I have Mario. I have Bowser, and I have Marina and Mewtwo.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, the Amiibo things are nice. At least they're well made. Like, that was always something I remember.
Yeah, they're well made, and they're decently cheap for if you can buy them new. They're decently cheap for how well sculpted they are.
Yeah, the downside to the Amiibo is they were scalped as fuck.
Oh yes, that's fucking insane.
But I would say that's not really Nintendo's fault. It's partially Nintendo's fault for deliberately understocking some of them.
Yeah, understocking them. But a lot of them are getting back in stock as well. Interesting at like GameStop and stuff. So there was a recent resupply at the Nintendo store.
Yeah. So I mean, Nintendo's always been a little sketchy with that kind of stuff. It's not that they specifically help the scalpers, but they don't exactly go out of the way to hurt them either. So I think it's just a case of Nintendo often underestimates popularity of some things. Although I have heard that's one of the reasons why the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called got delayed. Is they wanted more stock in stock, because they think a lot of people are probably going to buy, which they probably are. I mean, that's, a lot of people bought the Switch 1, so I do wonder if it's just going to be Switch 2.
I got it at launch. I got mine at launch.
I didn't quite get it at launch. I got it about a year later, because Mario Odyssey just looked too fun, and
yeah.
Funnily enough, I was originally planning to wait until Metroid Prime 4 released before I got my Switch. I'm glad I didn't do that. That took a while.
You would have missed out on so much. You would have missed out on both the Zelda games.
I mean, here's the thing.
Not just both Zelda games, but like.
Because I mean, this was back when Prime 4 had been announced, like very early in the lifespan of the Switch. Let's point out, like, the Switch has been born. We had Prime 4 announced. The Switch is now dying, and we've had it finally confirmed to be released. So, it's the entire lifespan of the Switch has been waiting for Metroid Prime 4. And
that's the sad thing is that's not unique for Metroid, because that always seems to be the case with the Metroid systems. Because Metroid for Nintendo 64 never happened. I have seen websites list Smash Brothers as a Metroid game for the N64 because what else are you gonna list?
Yeah, I mean, there were rumors that there was sort of a plan-ish for a 64 Metroid, but like nobody was really happy.
They just couldn't get it to look in 3D. They just couldn't get it to look right. Which, I mean, honestly, considering what some of the other janky third-person games we've seen on the 64, probably for the best, because it would have been like Mega Man Legends.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just still stuck to a 2D game, maybe made it like a 1.5 thing, but I don't think that idea had really been conceptualized in gaming at the time. So maybe the idea just...
It would have been similar to like the Kirby game for the N64, which I think still aged pretty well.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like... I mean, if it hadn't been Odyssey, which eventually sold me on getting a Switch, I definitely would have got one for Dread. You know, that would absolutely have been a thing that I would have done. I'm trying to think what other games would have absolutely sold me on the Switch. Dread would have. Odyssey did.
Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was on the Wii.
I actually have Breath of the Wild on the Wii. That was really fucking hard to get. By the way, like everywhere had the Switch version. Almost nowhere in town had the Wii U version. I think eventually I sent my dad to Argus to see if they had one, because we got an Argus, but it's like right on the edge of town, and I couldn't have walked up there to get it. And he says, "Yeah, I managed to get one for you." I was like, "Oh fuck, thankfully."
And then did you eventually get the one for Switch as well?
Yes, I did get the one for Switch. Not immediately. I kind of got that sort of slightly cheaper, but because why did I need to get it twice?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, I did eventually get the Switch version as well.
But it's weird. Tears of the Kingdom, I think, was you couldn't even argue that. We're kind of getting off track now, but I'm trying to think of like what was the most recent Zelda game to be purely for a new system, because Link's Awakening was a remake.
Mm-hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom used a lot of assets from Breath of the Wild, and then the new Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is not really a Zelda game, right? You don't play as Link at the Zelda, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not a traditional
but then, of course,
Zelda
you go back,
game.
But then, of course, you go back to like Twilight Princess, and no, Twilight Princess was a dual released on GameCube and
Skyward Sword.
Wii. Skyward Sword was, that would have been it.
Yeah, Skyward Sword was the last one. I mean, it has
specifically designed.
Yeah, it has since had a port,
console.
But that's different. So
yeah.
So I mean, I would still argue that Tears of the Kingdom does count because they did very much update it for Switch. Whereas, you can kind of tell because like the Sheikah Slate is very much a Wii U gamepad, whereas the Purapad
is very clearly a Switch.
It's clearly a Switch. So I would argue that is, and I would also say that Zelda, what was it, of Wisdom, Echoes of Wisdom, is that I would also argue that is. I know it's technically using an engine from a remake, but it still counts. But it is weird actually thinking of we got this like Echoes of Wisdom thing, and it's not been long since Princess Peach Showtime came out. So it is weird. Maybe someone in Nintendo is just like, we've got these female characters, maybe we should actually fucking do something with them. I don't know exactly why.
And then of course they have Metroid, so
well, yeah, but I mean that was always established as a female-led series as opposed to like Mario, which is that's
but now more than ever we need Eternal Darkness back.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, I mean, I think I've sort of talked myself a little hoarse today. So, but yeah, I mean, a good direct. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Really happy we finally got to see some Prime 4. I'm curious about the name. Like Beyond it's a little generic, but I think I like it enough.
It's evocative enough.
It certainly gets you questioning. Like I said, because the logo looks like a black hole or a wormhole, maybe. So it's like, what are we going beyond? And like, what was that item they were running away with? It's like, there's a mystery here, and it's got me just hooked enough that I want to know more. But I will wait until we get a proper release date before I start getting very excited. So it's nice that it exists. It's nice that we've seen it. Looks really good. I'm going to put most of my focus on the new Zelda game, I think, because at least we got a release date for that. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, I think Nintendo has delivered, as they always do. Would you say, just as a last thing, considering that this is kind of the last thing in... It's not really part of the Summer Games Fest, but it kind of is connected to it, because it's the not E3 that we're sort of doing now. Would you say this is the best presentation of the lot?
I still of the whole Summerfest,
yeah,
or like of the previous like Nintendo Directs.
Well, no, of this year's Summer Games Fest thing, because although this is kind of like its own separate thing, it's sort of still in that sort of envelope of the not E3 that we have now, because obviously E3 is dead. But
considering I can't really remember what any of the previous ones were, although this one is just kind of the most recent in my memory, most fresh in my memory. But yeah, this was a pretty solid one. They had a lot of really good announcements. There's a lot of stuff to be excited about here.
Yeah. It's like, again, I was chatting with a friend of mine last night, and we were just saying how, like, all the other ones, it's like there wasn't, like, occasionally you'd get something that, oh, that looks kind of nice. Like, I know a lot of people were very happy about the PlayStation Direct. Is it called Astro Boy? Or Astro Bot?
Oh, yeah. Astro Bot.
Yeah, that. I know a lot of people are very happy about that, but, I mean, I'm not...
Yeah, because the Astro Bot game came as a free pack-in for the PS5, because it was basically designed to kind of show off all the features of the PS5 and the controller, and it was actually really well made. It's a nostalgia trip for anybody who grew up with the PlayStation brand, which, I mean, I did. It's not as huge of a part of my history as Nintendo, but it's still a really big part of my childhood. So the Astro Boy's Playroom was really cool, and a lot of people have been saying, well, can we get like a full game with this character? And that's basically what they're doing now.
Yeah. I mean, it looks really good. I know I'm never going to play it because it is almost certainly never going to hit PC, and I'm not buying a PS5 just for that.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah.
Like, it does look like a really fun game, and it looks like a nice, fun, colorful platformer, but it's clear it's got way too much PS5 iconography to ever leave that console, and there's not enough on the PS5 for me to justify buying one, at this point. So it's nice that PS5 will at least have a nice, colorful exclusive, but it's like, so that was something. I'm trying to think, like, what the fuck else was there that, like, in the rest of the, directs and shows and whatever the hell they want to call them, that I was thinking, oh yeah, I've really, really, really got to get that, and I just don't think there was anything. So yeah,
I'm having to Google what they released recently just to remember.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Microsoft one was probably second best, but Microsoft they've got so much at the moment. It's just like there was bound to be something in there for everyone, kind of like with Nintendo's Direct, I suppose. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if anything pops out for you, but yeah.
Reading through the archives now, the Among Us developer Innersloth announcing a bunch of their indies. That's really cool. The Blumhouse Games stuff.
Oh yeah, that was
Civ 7.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that was just a teaser that, hey, this game exists. Congratulations. It's like, don't know what kind of game that's going to be yet, but okay.
Well, like with the Civ series, that's kind of one of those series that just knowing that a new one is coming is kind of enough, because you kind of know what you're getting into with Civ.
Yeah, I mean, they
It's like saying that there's going to be a new Grand Theft Auto or a new Elder Scrolls. Like, okay.
Like, you kind of know what to expect going in, turn-based strategy.
Yeah, when you have a big franchise like that, they can get away with just having a title and a number.
Yeah, true.
Doom the Dark Ages, of course.
Yeah, that looks... I don't know, I'm a little on the fence, because I like Doom 2016, and I like Doom Eternal enough, but Doom Eternal is proof, if it were needed, that you can have too much of a good thing. Because Doom Eternal just got fucking overbearing by the end of its game. Like, the number of mechanics you were juggling in a battle in Doom Eternal at the end of the game got so stupid that it actually exhausted me to play it. Like, physically, I got exhausted playing Doom Eternal. And that's not something you want, you know? So there was that. There's a new Fable game in the works, which might be good, might not be. Fable has a very mixed history. Yeah, I'm literally scrolling down through my wish list right now. Just a few indie things here or there, but yeah, nothing much. Nothing much, really. So yeah, I mean, as you say, like, the Nintendo Direct's very fresh in our minds, so it's easy to say, oh yeah, Nintendo Direct was best. Probably have to leave it, but off the top of my head, I'd say Nintendo's probably the best.
And of course it is going to be very subjective, because you obviously have more of a personal connection with Nintendo than with Sony.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been one of these people where I'm like, oh, exclusive, console exclusivity. I will only ever play one console.
Absolutely, I get it. But you're much more familiar with Nintendo franchises than with Sony ones. Which,
True.
I mean, it makes sense. They've been around for, they have another, at least 2 decades on Sony.
How will they hype up Fable beyond reasonable without Peter Molyneux? Hopefully very well. I mean, considering the first trailer had fucking Richard Adewale in it as a giant for some reason, I don't know. Yeah, I think Fable's probably better without Peter Molyneux associated with it. There's Metal Gear Solid Delta. Yeah, I mean, I've never played a Metal Gear Solid game. I can't get excited about a franchise I've never played, so, it is what it is. I have considered streaming those as, maybe I should try getting into this series. Let's see what it's like. But I don't know.
How are you with stealth action?
I'm alright. I mean, I like the Deus Ex games.
Have you played Beyond Good and Evil?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah.
Oh, that's a game that's apparently getting a remaster. I forgot about that. Is it really Metal Gear without Kojima? Well, I mean, they're only remaking 3 because it's the popular one. So they've got the Kojima...
It's like asking, is it really Final Fantasy without Sakaguchi?
Don't know.
Yeah, you'd probably get through the Metal Gear games just fine, especially if you like Death Stranding, because that's very much a Kojima-ism. Metal Gear is a very much an auteur theory kind of game. You get to see some of Kojima's crazy shit that he does.
I mean, I have played Death Stranding, and I did like Death Stranding more than I expected to, considering that was literally the first Kojima game I'd ever played. And I am looking forward to the second one. I do hope that hits PC sooner rather than later. I do note, Entire, you say that it's a remake, so they can't really botch it. Are you fucking joking?
Look at the 13 remake.
Yeah, there's the 13 quote unquote remake. That was fucking awful. And it's worth pointing.
My dreams. I know.
It's worth pointing out. There is a Silent Hill 2 remake in the works right now by Bloober Team that I have literally no faith in. Okay, the only reason why Konami have suddenly gone running back to gaming and are remaking all of the popular games they've ever made as an entity is because Japan changed its laws around gambling and they can't make any money with gacha machines anymore. That's why they're doing this. This is not them doing it out of their good graces. This is them desperately trying to find a way to stay alive and relevant and make money. Pachinko machines. That's what I meant.
And pachinko gacha.
It's the same basic thing. But Japan changed its laws, and so they can't make as much money as they used to. They like cracking down on that kind of stuff. That's why Konami went running back and re-releasing and remastering all their old games, because they're suddenly desperate for fucking cash. And they're just doing all the popular games like Metal Gear Solid 3, like Silent Hill 2, because they literally just don't have anything else. It's like they don't know how to make good... Sorry?
And nobody's willing to work with them.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like they don't know how to make good games anymore, which is why they're like outsourcing all of them to all these other teams. And like with the Silent Hill 2 remake, I am willing to give it a chance, but I am not gonna put any money down until that game has been out for several weeks and we've had some proper reviews for it. You know? Like, I don't think they can pull it off. If they do, great. But I don't think they can, you know? So, yeah, that is why Konami has suddenly come back to embrace its gaming roots. We're back, baby. It's like, no, you are running from the financial oblivion Japan's law changes have left you in. That's all it is.
Say it with me. Fuck Konami.
Sakaguchi has nothing but praise for Yoshi P and his handling of Final Fantasy. I mean, if you say so. Everybody seems to be willing to suck Yoshi P's dick. I don't see it myself. I mean, okay, I'm sure he did good with Final Fantasy XIV, but here's the thing. Final Fantasy XIV, it's an MMO, ergo it is automatically a bad game. So that doesn't necessarily fill me with confidence. And I don't know if he worked on any other Final Fantasies. Like, I don't know what else he has done in the Final Fantasy franchise. I know he didn't work on 15. I don't know if he worked on 16. But I've heard that 16 was rough. And I don't think he's working with any of the 7 remakes. Again, I don't know what he has or hasn't had his fingers in terms of Final Fantasy outside of 14. So, I don't know. He was the producer for 16. See, this is the thing. I've heard 16's kind of mid. Like, I've heard it's okay, but it's not like a great game. So that doesn't necessarily...
It's a character action game. It's Final Fantasy by way of Devil May Cry.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I'm waiting for it to hit PC before I play it and know it up. Know it up, sorry. Know if it's any good.
Yeah, I'm waiting for 16 to hit like $20.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the kind of game you'd want to spend full price on anyway. So
I didn't even get through 15 more than like a couple hours.
I've only ever managed to finish 15 once. And like, I don't actually know how I managed to do that. Somehow I just did. I somehow managed to push past the really fucking boring game that is Final Fantasy 15. So
I wanted to pick up 15 at the store, but I ended up jumping instead.
That's great. That's a really good gag. Yeah, I mean, that's just one of the problems that 15 has. Never mind the plot that doesn't really make any sense or how boring the game is, the hot mess that is the combat system.
I can overlook a shitty plot if the gameplay itself is fun, but just the game is just a chore to actually play. Just the physical act of playing the game feels like a chore sometimes.
The physics don't feel right, do they? Like, the way Noctis controls, it doesn't feel right. It's like they tried to go for too much realism and just botched it, you know? Yeah, so I don't know.
We've gotten off track.
Well, yeah,
we've gotten far off track.
We do that. I mean, you know, we talk about games. That's one of the reasons why I like doing this sort of thing. But yeah. So, what the fuck was I saying? I don't even remember now. I mean, speaking of Final Fantasy, there's still the rumors of a Final Fantasy IX remake in the works. Where I'm like,
yeah, I heard about that as well.
I will only believe it when I see it. You know, because there have been like soft confirmations that yes, there is a Final Fantasy IX remake in the works, but no, it's not being done by Yoshi P and his team. It's being done by other people, and it's not going to be done in like a Final Fantasy VII remake kind of thing. It's going to be a more restrained game kind of thing.
The way they did the 8 remaster.
Probably, it's probably going to be a bit more like how we had the differences between Final Fantasies 3 and 4. When they got remade, where it's like it's the exact same game but with just like better graphics and stuff. I would guess, but I don't know. But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed.
I did really like the art style of 9. I feel like 9 had a very defined art style that kind of continued through 12.
Yeah, I mean, the
then
thing
it just
with
got weird.
it got too realistic. That was the thing.
Yeah, it did.
9 is my personal favorite Final Fantasy. I know that yours is 7.
9 is up there. 9 is like second tier for me. But it is up there. It's one of those games that I just haven't played it enough to really love it.
I mean, I haven't played it that much, but I still consider it my favorite one. But it definitely sits up there. That not you got like 7 is one of the best ones. 9 is one of the best ones. 6 also really good. 10 also a really fucking good game. And then you sort of go down. I mean, we could do a rundown of favorite Final Fantasies, but as you say, we are getting a little off topic. Entire is like you're the weirdo who likes.
You
12.
Normally stream until 10, so.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say
stream for another hour,
technically speaking, we could stream for another hour, except I've run out of water and I also need to go to the bathroom, so we should probably start wrapping it up. But I mean, I can understand people liking 12. I think 12 has a lot to like if you can get past the slightly odd combat system. Because it was one of those hybrid MMO
The problem
things.
with 12 is not the combat system. The combat system is good in 12. The fact that 12 is essentially an offline MMO is weird.
Yeah.
It's all bounty and mission based, which is just a weird way of doing a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, it's 12 is not bad, but I mean, you know, I mean, you say you're a weirdo who likes 12, and so I like 8, which a lot of people hate, but I also like 13, which a lot of people hate. So, you know, I know you and I have had discussions about the fact that I can actually get on with 13 and you really can't.
I mean...
But, yes, I mean...
I couldn't get through 13. How could you get lost? It's a straight line.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, like, 13, I am convinced, I am absolutely convinced that Final Fantasy 13 was an experiment. A failed experiment, sure, but an experiment in trying to see if you could get the player to empathize and feel the same things as your character does. Because if you think about it, through most of the game of Final Fantasy 13, your characters are frustrated that they feel like they've been given no choice in their fate, their destiny, in where they can go. Which, funnily enough, is exactly what most people whine about when they talk about Final Fantasy 13, that we don't get any choices in where we can go. It's a linear straight line. And I do wonder if that was deliberate. Like, if it was actually like, okay, can we get the player to feel like the characters they're playing? Which is an interesting idea, but why would you pick...
It's an interesting idea artistically, but it doesn't necessarily make for a good game.
Well, yeah, but yeah, it's like, yeah, what I was going to say is like, why would you pick a character that is frustrated and annoyed as the character you want to empathize with? It's like...
Exactly.
It's like, again, it's just a theory I've got, but that's my theory as to why Final Fantasy 13 is the way it is. It's a failed experiment. Like, that's an interesting concept, but that's something you do in a spin-off game, not a mainline fucking title, you know? But I've always maintained, Zero, you need to play Final Fantasy 13 too. I own
it. I mean, I picked it up for like $5.
Yeah, like I want to know what your opinions of Final Fantasy 13 2 are, especially compared to 13, because fuck, 13 2 is a weird fucking game. Although not as weird as Lightning Returns, you know, 13 3 as I call it. That game is fucking insane. 13 Lightning Returns is so fucking weird. Oh god. But yeah, it is what it is on that front. But yeah, we're still yeah, sorry, we're getting off topic, and I do need to go to the bathroom, so we should probably wrap this up. And then I've got to debate if I'm going to upload this to YouTube or not. I mean, on the one hand, I'm like, it would be nice to have a reaction.
Major,
Sorry?
I don't think there's going to be any trouble with the direct. I mean, I suppose it's up to you.
I mean, here's the thing. I've essentially gone down the line of I don't really care about copyright strikes. Or, you know, copyright claims, not strikes. I've actually had, I will say, I've had less than I expected. There are a number of games that I uploaded where I'm like, okay, this is definitely going to get a copyright claim. And I never did. and I'm genuinely surprised. I've even had a few that have vanished. I got a copyright claim on the second part of Unheard, Voices of Crime, and it was there when the video got uploaded, and then it got removed. And I'm wondering if whoever it was who had the claim saw it and thought, no, I'm going to let that by. Which, okay, thanks. I mean, it's not like I'm earning any money off of this anyway.
It could have been an auto-generated claim, and then the person's like, oh, wait, this isn't correct.
Yeah, it's entirely
that happens
possible.
As well, because I get notifications on my videos when someone uploads a new thing, just because it contains similar footage as one that I've uploaded, but these are videos that I edited from other footage. Like, oh, this guy also uploaded a commercial for Nintendo Game & Watch. You need to make sure that they didn't steal your videos. Like, they have not stolen what I've already rightfully stolen.
Yeah, what's the line? You're trying to kidnap what I've rightfully stolen or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen the movie.
But they haven't. But although that did happen to me earlier, like back when I was doing Video Game Bunker, somebody actually did take footage from my Arctic Tail review and put it in their video.
Fair enough.
I guess they just didn't want to capture footage for Arctic Tail themselves.
I mean, okay.
I guess I can understand that, but come on. Why make a review of Arctic Tail if you're not going to bother capturing footage? Why is there that much demand that you desperately need to make a review of Arctic Tail that you need to steal my footage for it?
Maybe he just wanted to save some time. You know, I don't know, but could have just been laziness. In fact, it probably was laziness. Let's be honest. But yeah. So
whenever I take video from other people on YouTube, I take it from parts of the video that would be the same. I can take it from cutscenes or stuff that would be the same regardless of who captures it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I might upload this and, hopefully it won't get deleted. Because that's one thing that can happen is that videos don't just get claimed. They can just be outright deleted if the company chooses to. But, I mean, if it does, fine, fuck it, whatever. I won't cry
as long as it's
over
viewable, you know?
But
as long as it's still viewable and they can see your reactions.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna fret over that anymore. But as I said, I am just generally surprised at how few I've actually had since I started uploading to YouTube again, and I am pleasantly surprised that the numbers are going up slowly, but they are going up. And it's always surprising seeing which videos get a lot of views. Like, I'm genuinely surprised that my playthrough of Luigi's Mansion 3 is actually doing very well. I don't know why.
That's good.
But Luigi's Mansion 3 is getting into like the hundreds of views for each video. And I'm like, cool, okay, I won't argue with it. It's got almost no watch time, but it's getting the views. So, you know. YouTube is weird. YouTube is so fucking weird. I don't get half of what YouTube does. You know, in like, I understand it, but I don't understand why. You know? Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to go because I do really need to go to the bathroom right now. But that has been the Nintendo Direct for June 2024. It has been a really good one. Some really fun and interesting things. As I said, Zelda, you will definitely be seeing me playing that on stream later in the year when it comes out. Maybe some of the other things. I might even stream Dragon Quest 3. I think that might be a fun stream game whenever that gets released. That one looks good fun. And obviously you will definitely be seeing me play Prime 4 when that comes out, but we got a while to wait on that one. So, yeah, do you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye, and be sure to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yes, subscribe to me on YouTube. I don't really say that on my outro. I probably should, but I think begging for subscribers is a bit of a moot point. Like, people know on YouTube, but...
No, that's the thing, is that you have to do it. They say it because it's effective. When you actually say it, people actually subscribe. It sucks to admit, but it's effective.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you all for watching, everybody. I do hope you have enjoyed this, and I will see you all whenever I next see ya. Take care out there, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.